Welcome back to Brick Dynasty Live. Tonight's guest has worn many hats and the occasional helmet over the years, spent years in service to this country as a whole, and now to our little corner of the world in the AFL community. It's one of the hosts of Think Outside the Blocks, sculptor of the world's most majestic mustache, and one of the most positive people you'll ever see. Everybody, welcome Brick Dad.
Oh, thank you. You flatter me. Yeah, I appreciate that intro. It's quite glamorous, and I appreciate that. But yeah, no, I'm just a humble Lego dad that builds Lego and supports everybody that I can to make it a good community. You know, make everybody happy and enjoy and be special. So.
Yeah, it's you've shown that very recently with this all of the smart brick nonsense, and while everyone was tearing it apart, you brought some positivity there and a lot of valuable information, and I appreciated that.
Well, that's a hard thing with that topic, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But in this community, people can become very fixated on things. And being able to slow people down and say, hey, this is Lego. Let's back off a little bit. Let's look around and let's see all of the possibilities and not just our sight on something like that. So,
Lego, like the Lego group, the actual brand, they are such a big company. It's almost like moving a world government. You know, it's a very big turn to that ship. And we've seen, it was at 2022, they started working on these things. Nothing happens fast. And same thing with the information that we get. They're not going to drop it all on us at once. It just kind of creeps. And so we'll see what happens.
Well, see, the funny thing is they actually started this back in 2008. That's when they first filed the first document to work with the Smart Play system, and what their intentions was back in 2008. And then again in 2012, when they were transitioning some tech over to the Smart Play system and stuff like that. And then it jumps up to 2018, 2019. And then there was a slowdown there. And that's why it took from 22 until 25, 26 to actually get it produced, is because of the COVID years that were in there with the technology and all that. Otherwise, this would have been out about 2 years ago, possibly sooner.
Wow. It would have been so much more affordable too.
Well, yeah. Then again, you never know with Lego and their pricing and what their policies are. Over the last year, we've noticed that last year and a half, we've noticed that Lego has incrementally hiked up the regular set prices under guise of tariffs or whatever reasoning they used. But the price of regular Lego has continued to climb as well. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you watched, was it three consecutive years, maybe? There were increases on Speed Champion sets.
Yeah.
And those have gotten out of control. We
were starting with $15 to $20 tops when they were first out, 12 to 15, and then they jumped from like 15 to 20, 22. Now you've got Speed Champion sets that are 30, 32, depending on the set, and then the doubles are easily $40. So easily a Speed Champion car of any type is going to be a minimum $22 a car. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they have done a great job. They're putting out a fantastic product. But
they are. Oh, yeah, for sure. And the changeover that they made from the 6 wide city version cars to the 8 to 10 wide, 8 to 9-ish wide Speed Champion sets really gave them a lot more ability to put more detail, as well as 2-passenger wide vehicles as well. So a lot more practical in the reality aspect of what they build.
Yeah. And you see what some people are doing with their displays now, between putting them in cases and wall mounting them and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a much more display worthy product than it was.
Oh, for sure.
So it's hard to hate the pricing too much, because at least it appears that they're putting the effort in.
Well, yeah, there's a plenty of detail in them for the size that they are. So the displayability, the aspect of the collectability of them as well is definitely there. So yeah, it's definitely there's value in them, and the fact that they are such a prolific line, they've been
Mhm.
going at about what 5 years now for the Speed Champion line.
Um, 5 years. Well, I'm trying to think here.
As its own solid Speed
Yeah,
Champion line. I want to say it's about 5 years, but I'm plus or minus a year or two, I'm sure. But
yeah, it was 4 years ago they started bringing IPs in the Speed Champions. I think
okay,
it might be. Um, what was that? Was it Dom's Charger? Was that the first one? I'm trying to remember.
I would
It's
love to
so
tell
hard.
you, but Speed Champions are not a theme that I follow because
Yeah,
as every Lego collector or builder knows, that if you try to follow everything, you will
yeah.
run yourself into bankruptcy trying to stay on top of things. So,
Yes.
as much as I love them and
Yep.
appreciate them, Speed Champions is not one of my collectibles.
Yeah, I basically learn a lot of those things from going through the retirement lists and, a lot of the buying and selling and stuff that we
Yeah.
do. I don't own a single Speed Champions myself.
Okay.
That's gonna change this year or next year. We'll see whenever we get a price break on the time machine.
There you
If I
go.
can get
That's
that
it.
at a better
Yeah.
price, that's where I'll
That's the
flip it.
same one for me. It's an iconic movie. The series of movies with it and stuff like that. I would love to
Yeah,
see a Speed Champion scale train to go with it as
wow.
a sister set. Doc Brown's time machine train
Yeah,
from the third movie. I would love to see that just as a sister companion, and that's something that they haven't done in the Speed Champions. It's literally just cars, but that's an iconic movie car that would fit in that line as well. So, but yeah, the time machine, the Back to the Future time machine, as it's labeled, not the DeLorean,
yeah,
but that's one on my radar for this year too to pick up. Even
yeah,
though I don't do Speed Champions, but it's a great set. So.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see them do an Ecto One at that scale.
Oh yeah.
I'd be interested in that as well.
Well, they only did one before in that scale, and that was a supplemental to the Firehouse, the
Yeah,
Ghostbuster Firehouse that they did. And the Ghostbuster Firehouse never came with one, so that was kind of an awkward how that came about. So
yeah, yeah. Oh man. Now I've got the wish list spinning in my head. I want a
right.
mystery machine done by the Speed Champions team.
Oh yeah, that would be a
That
good
would
one
be great.
too. I've got the 6 wide. Kids are they were when they were born. They Scooby Doo was the thing for us of when we were getting ready in the morning and stuff like that. The kids would watch Scooby Doo on the TV, stuff like that. So they're very passionate about Scooby Doo. So we have the Scooby Doo sets. My son has them up in his room on his shelves for his collectibles because the Scooby Doo
Cool.
is important to him. He's got the Haunted Mansion, the Mystery Machine, the biplane, and saving up to try and find a lighthouse to go with his set also. So
That's awesome. The lighthouse is actually the only one that I'm missing as well. I have the what's the one with the whatever it is there, the coffin sarcophagus thing, whatever it is. Um,
the Mummy one,
yes,
yeah. Uh,
which is the weakest of the sets.
yeah,
Uh,
I
I
couldn't
don't
tell
remember
you the
what that
name of
is.
it, but yeah,
Yeah, it's the forgotten of the group.
oh yeah, for sure. It didn't have the impact or the characters that the other sets did. So
Yeah, yeah. We just found the coffin lid for that in a bulk lot the other day.
oh
The
really?
pearl gold, and it's in minty fresh condition. The thing is
Wow.
beautiful. So it's motivating me to kind of part that together. Anyway.
Okay. So is that going to be a keeper and not a sell it?
Oh yeah. The Scooby-Doo stuff that comes in the house, that doesn't go out of the house.
Okay.
Yep, that's necessary for me. Oh, so Liam here. Wacky Racers Speed Champs would be great.
Oh, heck yeah. Hanna-Barbera Speed Champion sets. Oh my gosh. And it would be iconic to be able to do a CMF line to go with them.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Right?
Was it Dick Dastardly and Muttley?
Yeah.
Would be a lot of fun. Well, so Hanna-Barbera is owned by Warner Brothers now, right?
Correct.
Which soon, if it gets passed, I'm pretty sure soon that'll be part of Netflix, who Lego works with. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Best bet would be to get into Lego Ideas and start submitting pre-builds to try and give that indication so that fans can start liking them and show that there's interest in them. So.
Oh yeah. It's
not necessarily you or myself, but for other people. Being able to get in there and digitally design them up and put them in as Lego Ideas so that they can be at least on the radar for something of interest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're targeting Gen X a lot these days with all these nostalgia sets. So they do remember that we exist.
They do. Yeah. Yeah, the last Pokemon commercial that they did, the kickoff one for that, for the $650 set, was literally 5 actors, all over the age of 30.
Wow.
Possibly over the 40. I'm not sure, but yeah. I honestly, I can't remember if there was even a kid in that advertisement.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to put kids in an advertisement when like the lead set they put out is $650.
True.
That's tough.
True.
That's mind blowing. It's so much money. I mean, and great. People apparently love it, so good for them.
Oh yeah, the pre-order sold out. The price to part ratio is not bad, but it's just
better than Star Wars.
Well, yeah, it's just crazy. It's an IP that takes off that quickly, that fast, is a dangerous IP because of how quickly it can die out as well. So
who was it? Ash and Flash, maybe? Oh, Mind. That's the one, the Ninjago kid there. He was saying today, talking about scalpers and all of that, saying that, these people are not aware of how Lego works. And Lego is just going to print an infinite supply of these things, kill the aftermarket, and they're going to be sitting on a shelf in 2 years. So,
yeah. Well, that's the thing, is waiting until, what is it, almost the end of February to see day one. Yeah. How many more of the GWPs are available at that point?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. The GWPs are ranging from $250 to $400 roughly on eBay right now.
Yeah.
Just for the GWP. Yeah. The set itself is anywhere from $800 up to $1,300 average on eBay.
Yeah.
Just for the set, and that's double the retail price on it, and it's not even on the market yet. So
and obviously I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any way they don't bring that GWP back.
The only catch I could see with it is the sticker sheet that goes with it and the production run that they would need to do to get that. Part wise, I've already looked at the GWP, and there's nothing special about any of the parts. So anybody could acquire all of the brick off of Bricklink or Brickowl or wherever they, Pabwall, even if it's there, build the set. The only limiting factor is going to be the sticker sheet that goes with it. So there's no iconic Pokemon board, labeling board or anything like that that's a printed piece that goes with it. So even that, if I want it bad enough, I'll get the brick and do it myself. I'll make up my own stickers if necessary to go with it. So that's something that I don't think scalpers necessarily factor in, is how resourceful Lego builders can be if they want something bad enough, unlike a card that's printed and you can't replicate it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know enough about Pokemon, so I could be very off here. But with those, a lot of them, they just do one run or two runs, and then it's just the end of it, and they're on to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
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 So
As far as I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you
my
miss your
Pokemon
shot,
expert just finished his shower and he went to bed. So
yeah, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch and see how the whole thing pans out. Thankfully, I have what's the saying? I have no horse in the race or something like that. So
yeah,
I can just
I'm not
watch in
betting.
the
I have no
background.
horse in the race. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is good because then I can spend money on Lego that I actually want.
Right. Yeah. See, that's the same thing for me is there's so many IPs on Lego's radar right now that I try to focus on just a couple that I collect. And then my side obsession, if you will, is working on CMFs or groupings of types of figures. So,
Oh, so since you mentioned that, fairly recently
Mhm.
on the Sunday show, Think Outside the Blocks, I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah, that's where it was. You were talking about your classic space collection, your space
My
men.
Space Minifigs, yes. I
Yeah.
just completed it. I'm waiting for the next figure to come, as well as the light blue space helmet. So,
Okay. So you're right there. That's awesome.
I do. I have them right back here. So,
see you, Liam.
yeah. So, got my classic
That's
space
awesome.
figures
Oh,
here.
the babies too.
Yeah, I'm missing my white one. I got to pick him up still. But yeah. And one of the hardest things about finding some of the original figures is the dimples from the classic helmets. So if they did make a reproduction run or a new version of a color, like the white or the blue or something like that, being able to go in and find the classic helmet that has the dimple or no dimple. The modern helmets have dimples. The classic helmet does not have a dimple. So depending on how authentic you want your collection to be for that reason. So
did you have a lot of trouble sourcing ones that actually had like a good gold print on them? Was that tough?
Sometimes if I have question or it's a high dollar one, I'll message the seller and request a picture of the printing and a high quality resolution with it, and I'll ask them, hey, can you put today's date and my name on a sheet of paper so I know that that's not a stolen picture from somebody else. But that way I can say, okay, I will buy this from you for the $45 price of the black space figure if you can send me that picture and I say it's high enough quality for what I'm thinking I'm paying for. If they don't want to do that, no problem. I'll move on to the next seller and look for it again and stuff like that. I've built a rapport with probably about a dozen or so sellers on there that if they get something they know I'm looking for, they'll reach out to me and say, hey, I have this in stock, or I got one in if you're interested. And then also at the same time, they'll send coupons out and say, hey, if you're looking for stuff, I know you've got a show coming up in 2 weeks because I know the show runs that you do. If you're looking for brick to do that, here's a coupon. Let me know if I can help you or if there's anything you need. So
that's awesome.
I know there's been a lot of bad blood in the water lately because of choices made by the Lego group in regards to Bricklink. And if at all possible, I will help out the sellers in the affected areas. But at the same time, this is unfortunately a a business mindset for each and every one of us, either as buyers or sellers, that you have to be prepared for a business to change drastically at any moment, which obviously could affect your inventory, your saleability, your business as a whole. So while I do have a lot of empathy for those sellers, as a business owner, you have to be prepared for those types of things from the beginning of, is this business going to make it a week? Is this business going to make it a month? Is this business going to survive? How long? So
yeah, it's the hell of living on someone else's platform.
Exactly. Do you have an alternate platform that you can sell on, or an additional way that you can sell? I think it's a double-edged sword for the affected areas, because if they have buyers in their region that buy from them regular because they're local, they hopefully can get into their data, save all of that information personally, and then have at least a local network in the area to be able to sell to for the remaining inventory that they have, if they choose to shut down, or as a way of establishing a new network. So
yeah, and there's got to come a point where another platform comes along, because right now it's just Bricklink and Brick Owl, I believe.
Correct.
Right, there isn't a third option.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just those two, other than the not so navigable Facebook Marketplace of being able to find stuff through there. So
yeah, I mean, a void in the marketplace never lasts long.
Very true. Very true.
I'd like to think something happens at some point. And just like the all of the new brands that are coming out, and at Lumi Bricks and all of those things.
Oh yeah,
it's beneficial for everyone for them to exist, because it keeps the king of the jungle, or whatever reference you want to use, they're kind of on their toes, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well,
the competition keeps price in check. If you start getting too big, people will go elsewhere, even if it's a substandard product, because they will go where their passion can be sustained. And if building bricks is the passion, they will go to where they can get the bricks for the reasonable price in their budget to be able to do things. And in an upside down economy where you've got things that are astronomically expensive, people still want their hobbies, but they're not going to sacrifice other things for that. I'm not going to not pay my water bill so that I can enjoy building Lego. I'm going to pay my water bill and buy a Lumi brick set.
Yep.
So,
yep. Which includes a light kit.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I do Lumi bricks, and I actually enjoy them. Their quality over the last 2.5 years has gone through the roof with what they do, and their receptiveness to customers, of being able to listen to the feedback and incorporate it into their sets. They're at a point right now where they're actually doing their light kits with their Town Life series, which is the equivalent of a modular series, where you can actually take the modular sets that Lumi Bricks is creating and connect them together electrically, so that one will automatically light up the next one when it's placed next to it and connects to it. So where Lego has the stud connections, or the pin connections, the Technic pin connections, Lumi Bricks is doing it with electrical connections. So they have electrical connection turn on its side. So as soon as it mates up, it makes the connection and it turns the lights on in the next building. So
that's fantastic.
They're doing innovative things to step out from the shadow of big box brand.
That's smart. And their prices are really good. And they actually have sales that they sell themselves on Amazon.
Yep.
And they actually give their people discount codes, which I appreciate.
Yep.
If you're going to have influencers help you, throw them a bone.
every Christmas they do buy your want list. So if you have a want list together, what they do is if you buy your want list and you win the selection, the raffle, if you will, they will reimburse you the cost of your want list.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
so one fan, because of how small their community is right now, yeah, they'll do it and pay you back for all the Lumibrick sets that you bought, and so
That's great. I am just such a sucker for a giveaway. Not
right,
as far as entering, but
yeah,
I'm just such a fan of them as like a marketing tool.
oh yeah,
God, I don't think we ever got a final count, but in 2025 we must have done 25 or 30 giveaways,
wow,
and
that's awesome.
we had a blast. We had so much fun, and every one of them was a win. Uh, and the last one we did was the UCS Razor Crest.
Nice,
And it
very
that
cool.
was an odd one. So, believe it or not, we had to do the drawing 4 times because the first 3 winners didn't come forward and collect their money.
Really,
Yeah,
wow. If I enter for something, I'm going to be looking to see
yeah,
when the drawing is, so that I can find out if I won or not.
yeah.
Um,
We had to go out of the way to do a random YouTube live just to get a winner. It was unreal.
That's great. I was just at a grand opening for a new bricks and minifig store last weekend, and for every $50 spent was a raffle entry, and the grand prize that they had was a UCS Death Star that they just came out with,
Wow.
and then they had an additional, I want to say 10 or 12 sets that they also continue to draw for a giveaway and stuff like that, and just being able to uh, participate in something like that. And the actual person that won the Death Star was one of the last 4 customers. And
Wow.
once he bought his stuff, he's like, "Oh no, I'm not going to fill them out. I'm gonna go ahead and head out." I'm like, "Come fill them out. You know what's because he's like." Okay, I'll fill them out, but if I win, I'm donating them, and I'm gonna donate them anyways if I win. So we'll do that. And he ended up being the winner of the UCS Death Star.
Well, I hope he
So,
followed through and actually donated.
well, he hasn't even picked it up yet. So once he does, I'm sure he will. He's a high character person, and I'm sure he'll do
Okay.
the things that he says he does. So,
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. What's up,
but
Warner? Hey, Mayo. Good to see you guys. Um, all right. All right. So let's hit the rewind button a little bit.
yeah,
And because we got way ahead of ourselves here.
we did, we
Uh,
did. We just started chatting about Lego and stuff. So,
oh yeah. Yeah.
hi, I'm Brick Dad.
Uh, all right. So let's dip into your origin story a little bit.
Okay.
Has Lego always been part of your life, or is that fairly
Um,
new? When did that come in?
no, no, no. I'm not a new AFOL. I grew from childhood through Lego and stuff like that. Um, I'm a product of the 70s. I was born in 75. Actually, Friday's my birthday. I'll be 51 on Friday.
Well,
So,
happy early birthday.
um, yeah, early birthday. Thank you. But yeah, so I was a Lego builder in the late 70s, early 80s,
Okay.
and all of the classic original non-IP sets that came out and stuff like that. Um, there were the $5, $10 max sets, and I got all of those, and I would build those and stuff like that. I was also the oldest brother of 3 or 4, counting me, boys. So it continued all the way through high school and stuff like that. The dark ages of adolescence and stuff like that didn't really happen because I had younger brothers that were still playing with it and stuff like that. So I'd sit down and I'd still build with them and stuff like that. And a lot of times, when they're building or something like that, they'll be like, "Hey, could you build us this, or could you build us that?" So that they could play with it and interact with. They build a car or a ship and say, "Hey, could you build us a gas station? Could you build us a hospital?" Could so I still built, not necessarily out of my own imagination or needs for building and stuff like that, but just out of work, being with my brothers and stuff like that and building that way. My first dark age was after high school when I joined the military. As soon as I turned 18, I enlisted, which was the middle of my senior year. And by August, I was at boot camp. So it was probably a good 3 years or 4 years right there in the mid to late 90s that I had my first real dark ages of Lego. And then it wasn't until 2006 where I really started to get back into it. And majority of the Lego and stuff that I had as a kid, I kept. It was just tubbed up.
Cool.
I, duct taped the tubs up and stuff like that. And they got put in storage. So I still had all of it. But in 2007, I left the military. My wife at the time and I were both active duty. She and I were up for promotion at the same time in the military. She made it and I didn't. So we talked about it and worked it out where I left the military, took an early retirement at 15 years. She stayed, ended up doing 24 total. And when I left the military, I went back to school and college and got a couple degrees. My first degree was science, fire protection, firefighting degree, so that I could go be a fire officer at a local fire station, and my EMT certifications and all of that. So when I did that, one of my graduation presents was the original fire brigade modular.
Wow.
And that kicked my passion for Lego back in gear. For a lot of my firefighter friends bought little model fire trucks and stuff like that. So they were very heavy into it because I was an older firefighter by standards. Most of them got into it when they're 18, 19, 20 years old and stuff like that. So I was easily 20 years older than everyone else in my classes when I was going to college for it and all of that. So I was the old guy. I was older than most of my instructors as well going through the program. So, I get the grandpa comments and stuff like that. But that pulled me out of my dark ages, and I built the fire brigade and started doing some smaller sets. And that was about the same time that the Lego digital design program, the first iteration of computer modeling with Lego, actually came out. And I beta tested that for a while doing fire truck designs. So I modeled some fire trucks. And back then, Lego actually had it set up where if you modeled something, you could submit it to be made into a product. And they would then bag it and ship it back out to you as a completed set. And the 3D rendering that you did for it, once you had the model complete, was printed out and put on the cover as the set design picture.
Wow.
So that was very back in the infancy, 2007, 2008, when they were doing that. So it pulled me out of my dark ages. I started to do the digital design side of actually getting in and using the mouse to move pieces around and build fire trucks and stuff like that. So I started doing that and did that while I continued school up until about 2012 when my wife retired from the Navy. And at that point, we packed up everything and moved back to where her family was. My family was scattered all over the country. I have two of my three brothers were active duty military, stationed at various places around the world. One of my brothers was still in California, where I was born and raised, where my mom and stepdad were. My dad had retired and was living in Texas. So I had family pretty much everywhere, where my wife had family back in one location. So she's like, hey, my dad's not doing too hot. I'd like to, move back to where he is to be able to spend some time with him before he passes away or any of that. So we're like, oh yeah, cool. No problem. I'm flexible. I like to travel. Let's move. So we moved back to where they were. And unfortunately, only about 6 months went by before he passed away.
Man.
So That threw a wrench into our lifestyle and things like that. And unfortunately, Lego went back into the tub at that point because we had so much chaos and stuff going on with her recently retiring, him passing away, family drama and stuff that was going on because of the breakdown. He was the rock that held the family together back there in the area. So my wife, sister, mother-in-law, all of them were all having problems because he was the peacemaker with all of them. So that put a kink in things for a couple of years. Jump forward to 2016, and 2016 was a very hard year because that's when my wife passed away. So in 2016, November of 2016, my wife passed away, and through the chaos of the early 2017, trying to figure out all of the financial aspects of everything of doing it all by myself, I finally got things settled out at the end of 2017. The house got foreclosed, cars got repoed. It was chaos. So those of you that have gone through the loss of people and stuff like that, I totally get it. I understand it. I've been there. I've dealt with it. The hardships of life in general, I totally get. But yeah, so 2017, I relocated a couple hours away from where our house used to be and reestablished myself. So 2017 was a new birth year for me in a whole lot of different ways. After losing my wife, all of our kids were grown at that point. I had 3 daughters that lived with my ex-wife out in California, so they were not around me much. And then my now late wife had 2 older kids that were already adults and in college and in careers and stuff like that. So we didn't have any younger kids that we were still parenting at that point. So it was pretty much me on my own trying to figure out who I was again as an individual in life. Completely retired and stuff like that. And it was at that point where I'm like, okay, well, I can either go back in the military and do some more time. I can go back to school. I can do just about anything that I was emotionally capable of putting my mind to, which I ended up doing. I found the small town that I ended up moving into, was looking for fresh life, fresh blood. And I actually applied to be a police officer there in a small town. When my father-in-law passed away and my wife passed away, it was at that point where I was not emotionally stable to do the fire EMS side of things any longer. My heart and emotions just couldn't take it. I would break down physically every time I had to go into an emergency situation that was a medical situation because of traumas that I've had to deal with. So I jumped over to the police side of it's a different first responder job, which I didn't know until I actually got into it, of how different the expectations were of the positions and of the job. So I went through a police academy for a while. And then once I got done with that, I started working for the small town that I was in as a part-time police officer, being retired. I lived in town where some of the other officers weren't. So I was pretty much an on-call. If there was an emergency, I got the first call and I'd go and respond to that for a while. Moving forward, excuse me, there was some fallout in the leadership of the town. The mayor at the time, it was a very small town, and the people in the town were not keen on having an outsider as a police officer in their town because of small town ethics of everybody knows everybody, we'll police ourselves mentality. And then there was some other issues with the mayor at the time wanting to play favorites And I pretty much stood up to him and said, hey, the law is the law. I'm going to execute my duties within what I've been taught and what I've been empowered to do as a law enforcement officer. So cutting slack for this person because you know them and you like them, I'm not going to do it. If they do this, I'm going to respond accordingly to what they do. I'm going to write a ticket. I'm going to arrest somebody. I'm going to do these things because that's my job. That's what I was hired to do and stuff like that. And because of that, I actually ended up being terminated from the police department because the mayor's like, no, I want somebody that'll do what I want to do. I said, okay, no problem. That's not me. So I don't have a problem with that. But don't expect my help when things happen. So I cut ties at that point and went to private security. So I still had all the knowledge and everything that I had. So I actually went over to a special needs industrial trade college. So people with mental disabilities or physical disabilities, this trade school was set up specifically for them to be able to learn new trades, learn skills, and learn these types of things to be able to then go be productive in society on their own to help them establish their independence. So I went and became a school resource officer for them. So, you know, I ran around the college campus, the student body all knew who I was and stuff. And it was a 24-hour live-in facility because there were people that required special medications or accommodations or things like that. So being able to be there for them required special needs and stuff like that. So I was 24-hour security on a crew that would come in there and everything. And it was a great job. I really loved that. Unfortunately, it was state funded, and due to budget cuts and things like that in 2018, just before COVID, they cut the program and said, what we're going to do is we're going to farm it out to local trade schools that are regional or city schools. And we're just going to eliminate the live-in aspect of it and provide them with services for either at-home care or visitation care or stuff like that, so that they could then take away all of the finances that they had to do to maintain the facility. So they farmed it out to other schools, made special departments at all of those other schools and stuff like that. So unfortunately, that job went away. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to fall back into enjoying retirement. So at that point, Lego wise, I was very set with starting back into Lego. I went and got the Lego out of storage and put the fire brigade back together, and was a significant build to me because it was from my wife when I graduated college and stuff like that. And my wife was now gone. School was over. Emotionally, I couldn't do my fire EMS job anymore. So there was a lot of things tied up in that build. And at this point right here is when I actually started looking into going back in the military, like hardcore looking to go back in the military. And what I ended up doing was I was trying to reach out to a couple of my subordinates from while I was active duty that were still on recruiting duty. And I reached out to one to try and ask him, say, hey, can you help me go back in the military now that, you know, you're senior and you're a recruiter and stuff like that. I want to go back in and do another 5 years, hit my 20-year to maximize my retirement, and then just, you know, enjoy it at that point. Unfortunately, when I reached out to get hold of him, I was informed by his wife that he had passed away.
Oh no.
So yeah. So I reached out to try and get hold of him, and his wife replied back to me, and it was a very blunt conversation to start with. Is who are you and why are you trying to get hold of my husband type conversation. And I'm blessed that she was receptive to actually listening to why, because I explained to her, I said, hey, my wife passed away a year ago, and this is what I'm looking at doing. I want to go back in and finish out my retirement because, the only thing I had at that time that was even semi-limiting was I had a couple pets that were mine and my wife's when she passed away. So I was like, I can work that out to make sure that they're taken care of and still in the family. So when I reached out to her and explained that to her, she told me her story of what happened to her husband, which was one of my juniors. He was 18, 19-year-old when I first met him, straight out of high school, joined the military and stuff like that. And I had never met her because he was in his mid to late 20s when they finally met and started dating and stuff like that. So he was already well into his career doing his stuff. And when I finally did meet her, it was through the tragedy of the grief that we were both facing with the loss of our spouses and stuff like that. And we became friends. We shared our problems, our joys, our issues and stuff like that. And
oh no, did my audio just cut out?
I still hear you.
Shit.
Everybody over there in the comments, can you guys still hear us? Just checking. So yeah, I ended up meeting her, and we became friends, and we started working our grief process together to make sure that just being supportive for each other and stuff like that. She had 2 small children at the time too, which are the kids that back at the very beginning, I actually explained that we had now.
1 second.
No worries, kid.
My headset cut out.
You're good. I just heard you say you cut out. So, can you hear me?
Tanya, did your internet freeze?
No, my internet is fine. Your internet seems to be okay too.
Well, why is it not working on mine?
Yeah, you're not. You didn't cut out sound.
I'm seeing you, and I'm hearing you.
Oh, fucking A.
Yeah, we're still on from my end.
All right.
It hasn't kicked me out. So. Stay tuned, everyone, while we have an intermission.
All right, I've gone completely deaf on my end here. Let me reset these things.
Testing. Can you hear me? Audio 1 2. Audio check. Testing 1 2.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
Wouldn't be a live stream without it.
All right.
Testing 1 2. Testing. Audio 1 2. Testing 1 2. Audio. Reset mic to it.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry about that.
Okay. No. You're totally fine. Trust me. You sane think outside the blocks. We're accustomed to audio problems, video problems. guest problems. It's all the same. So
God, I was so sucked into your story, and then all of a sudden there was nothing. I'm like,
no, it's totally good, because this is actually a good point to pick up from, because there's been a lot of hardship and negative in the story up until this point. And this is the point where things really turned around for me in my life to get to where I'm at now. And for me to get where I'm at now was meeting Jenny, which was my late subordinate's wife. When we met, we started our grief journey together of helping and supporting each other to get through the loss of our spouses. And at the time, there was no expectations of a relationship ever, anytime whatsoever, nothing, no. I even tried to encourage her to find other people and date other people and stuff like that, because I was like, I'm so over relationships and life and stuff like that. I just want to be by myself and just do my own thing, have some friends, travel when I want to travel, and be around people when I want to be around people. So I wasn't like, I already had kids. All of my kids were adults. So the thought of raising kids and stuff like that wasn't on my radar at the time. I was looking at stuff that I could do that was no baggage has to go with me. I can literally just leave stuff and go and do stuff. So when I met her, we were both at that type of mindset of just moving forward to become productive members of society again. Because at the point where we met, we weren't. We were in a deep hole of grief and dealing with the loss and all of those types of things. But we became very close friends, and we went to a retreat together where it's one that I actually staff now and support and work on, and it's called Leap of Faith. And it is a 3-day retreat held out in North Carolina, South Carolina border. And what it is you go out, it's a grief seminar where you spend an entire day in a classroom talking about what got you to where you are with your grief, how you manage it, what are the hardships of trying to manage it, and all of the aspects that you have to deal with in a daily basis trying to get through your grief and stuff like that. And then what you do at that point is then the second day, you'll have one of two things. You'll either go to a horse farm and actually do a therapeutic day out on a horse farm, working horses, not riding, but just working horses, walking them around, spending time. Animal interactions are very good for grief process of animals are very sensitive to emotional states. And the depth of grief is so deep that animals are very reactive to that. And horses have been shown to be some of the best animals to help work through those types of things. There's a history aspect, and it's just a very calming, chill, relaxing farm to go out to that fosters this relationship with other people that are at the retreat, as well as the animals and the facilitators at the retreat. And then there's the third day. The third day is the one where you need to wear your diapers because we go skydiving.
Oh.
So the metaphoric and literal aspect of the title of it, Leap of Faith, is the whole premise behind it is when you spend the day in the classroom, as well as with the reflections and stuff on the second day, on the third day, when you go to do the skydiving, you put all of that into perspective of, I need to move forward. I need to step over this boundary and make this forward leap, if you will, to not take the hardships, the stops, the roadblocks, the pitfalls, the potholes, all of the baggage and stuff. We need to figure out how to leave some of that behind. So what we're doing is we're taking a physical leap of faith out of an airplane as a tandem skydiver. You're strapped to somebody else. So we don't have, you're on your own, pull your ripcord or not. No, it's a tandem skydive. So what you do is you go strapped to somebody else. But what you do is you physically take this leap. And one of the things that you do is once you do the skydive, you do your free fall and you feel all of that aspect of the earth rushing to you, the wind in your face, and that freedom of just being in the air. And then once you pull your canopy, you feel that security of the canopy being above you, and you're literally hanging underneath this fabric that slowly lowers you down to the ground. And at that point, what you do is you'll pull out a slip of paper that's something that you want to say to your departed one, sons, daughters, whoever you lost. You have something that you want to say to them to let go of. This is a commitment I'm making to them to say, hey, I'm moving forward and I'm going to support you and love you and be a part of your life in a positive way. And then what you do is you take your card and you let go of it. And you just let that roadblock, that hang up, that whatever it was that was stopping you from moving forward with your grief at this stage, and you let go of it. So once you get to the ground, all of the other people in the retreat, people that have jumped already, people that haven't jumped yet, are all there. So you're in the middle of all of this love, compassion, and understanding for your circumstances. And it's amazing therapeutic event to be able to participate in and stuff like that. Now, with that being said, this was the first event that we went to together. And at that point, we bonded tremendously at that retreat. And this was probably 2020 now? 2019. No, 2018. Hope she's not watching. Women and dates and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it was pre-COVID when we did this, and then we started dating after that. And it was a long distance relationship because I was still at my house, she was still at hers, and I was in Arkansas, she's in Chicago. So to give you a distance between the two, we were a 10, 11-hour drive between us in that respect. So it was a lot of online. We still had our space. We still dealt with our grief and stuff like that. But we would occasionally get together for a weekend and have a date like that and stuff like that. So we started to grow in a relationship as we continued moving forward and stuff like that. And it got to the point where it's like, hey, you got kids. Are we doing this or are we not doing this? Because it's at that point of, am I going to be a dad again, raising kids, or or what? So we sat down, had a long conversation, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in. This is an opportunity for me to do something that I wasn't able to do while I was in the military, because while I was on active duty, I didn't get to raise my kids the way that I want to, or that I should have, because I was deployed, I was gone, I was stationed elsewhere, all of those types of things that limited my ability to be the father that I think I should have been. So through everything, I've been given this opportunity to try my hardest to be the best dad I can. And I'm now a little over 5 years in, and Lego actually has been a dominant factor in the relationship with bonding with the kids, working with them through their grief and doing things together and stuff like that. My first exhibition at a show was a Harry Potter castle. The reason that we did a Harry Potter castle as the first exhibition for a show was because my bonus son Gene, Harry Potter was his thing. And the reason we got into it was because he got all of the Harry Potter, the 2020, 2024 green roof castle sets. And he put all the sets together himself. Sometimes not completely right, but we fixed those and got those together correctly. But then what we would do is he would say, we would discuss the book and we'd talk about the movie and we talk about scenes that weren't in the sets. He's like, can you build that? I'm like, yeah, I can build that. Let's build this scene. So we added it to the castle. And we continued to add to it and add to it and add to it. So it was a bonding point to be able to build these segments of the story and add them to something that he already had and established. So he built the base sets that were the factory Lego by the instruction sets, and then I built mocks to go into those as well to expand the story. And we continue to do that. I've got the new sets for 2025, 2026 sitting down here in the boxes, getting ready to be rebuilt. And we're going to do a revamp on the Harry Potter castle on Hogwarts over the next year to get it updated to the new sets and tell more of the story. And he actually loves to be able to. We actually took it to school one day for show and tell at his school, and there's this big round table and we come in and I'm carrying this castle in, and then I said, "Oh, I'll be right back. I have to go get the other half of it." And they're like, "What? The other half?" I'm like, "Yeah, this thing's big." So I brought it in, and then I literally just stepped back over to the side and let him talk about it to his friends. And to see him light up and tell his friends, well, this is this and this is this, and how intimately he knew the story. And he's like, yeah, we added this, and to go through all that. And so, the gray area of where did my dark ages start and stop in my later years as an AFOL has been very blurry. But after my wife passed away is the main point where Lego came back into my life of being a determining factor. When I pulled earlier, I mentioned that I pulled the Lego out after my wife passed away and I rebuilt the fire brigade. It was at that point when I met Jenny, and I actually gave him the fire brigade to further the legacy of being firefighter, because that's what his dad did also. I mentored his dad in the Navy to be a firefighter. And it was a gift to me from my wife when I graduated the fire academy and stuff like that. And being able to pass that on to him to solidify his father's legacy as well. It was now something significant that I knew would live on with him, as well as, his dad's legacy in it as well. So it was. And now it's back in the collection. It's sitting over there for both of us. But yeah, so that's a roundabout how I got to where I'm at now. I hope everybody tracked that. I hope you got that.
Jesus, man, you need a movie. That was. I don't get emotions on this show.
Oh, sorry.
That was
so,
man.
So yeah, it's been
wow.
A Hallmark movie and a Stephen King movie all in one, with the ups and downs and everything that's happened up until my age of 51 coming Friday. So, but I'm at a point right now where I am absolutely amazingly blessed to be a stay-at-home father for two amazing kids, a as loving as possible husband to my new wife, and support communities that are either going through or have gone through or will go through some of the stuff that I have gone through in my life. So having the ability to be tangible to people I meet in just about every circumstance is a blessing to be able to understand them.
Wow. Man, you were a saint at this point. And
no, I appreciate the thoughts of that, but I'm still a flawed person, and that's a reality for me. Is being a flawed person is when I get out of bed in the morning, I think to myself, I need to be as good or better than I was yesterday. So
it takes a special kind of person to have that attitude. after enduring that much, and
Oh, thank you.
that is impressive. And
That's okay. I still steal the kids' candy, so
yeah, well, that's part of being a dad. That's like
exactly. Dad jacks. Yeah.
yeah, that's a rule. Now I kind of want candy. I don't eat candy. It's fine. Man, what a ride. So now, now you get to build Lego for yourself and as a dad.
Yeah.
So you get to build twice as much or differently.
Well, and it's differently because my son is a very instruction builder. He gets I'm going to follow the instructions and go all the way through it. And he occasionally steps outside the box to mock things and build this and that and stuff like that. But it's rare. He has to be in the right mood or the mindset to want to sit and do that. My daughter, on the other hand, she is a free thinker that will just sit down in front of a box of Lego and build her imagination.
Awesome.
She likes doing instructions, but she literally zones out when she's doing it. So she's got to have some music going. She's got to have a video playing where she's sitting there and she's looking at the instructions. She grabs a piece, she puts it together. She's watching a video. She's listening to music. So she's just a very active builder in that respect when she's building sets. But she enjoys it, and it's funny because she'll come down and she'll be like, "I'm in the mood to build today," and I'm like, "Box build or free build?" And she's like, "Box build." So I go over to the backlog, and I have a backlog area that is specifically for them, so that when they come down in those types of mindsets or those moods, I can go over and grab a set from the backlog for them, and they can sit down and build it. And they know what most of the sets are in the backlog, but every now and then, if I see a creator set or something like that, that is just a smaller fun build or something like that, I'll pick those up and throw those in their backlog, even though I have no interest in it whatsoever. But that way they have a set that when they come down in those types of moods, they can do that. Occasionally they'll have a friend over or something like that, and they'll be like, "You want to build Lego?" I'm like, "You want a box build or you want a free build?" So
cool. I struggle with that. So we don't have a backlog. We have inventory. Or
you're in a unique position.
Right. Yeah. So we always walk that line where it's all available to the kids. But sometimes I would rather just have them make a request and go to the store and buy something, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of what we have, we only buy stuff that's retiring, so it's most of what we have is already gone. But when they get in that mood and you kind of see the little sparkle in their eye and they're like all excited, and inventory quickly becomes something that's going to be on display in a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
So we try to balance that with having it be labor based. So it's like, all right, well, if you want to build something from the inventory, then 100 pieces an hour. You sort Lego for 100 pieces an hour.
Yeah.
And that's worked out pretty well. And we break it up in 30-minute blocks. Okay. And those 30-minute blocks usually take about 15 minutes to complete because, dad, right?
Yep. Yep. Oh, no, I totally get you.
Yeah.
I just had a dad on one of the Facebook groups. He was like, "I don't have the imagination or the creative mind to sit down and build with my 4-year-old." And he's at that point where he wants to expand his imagination and stuff like that. I was like, "What do I do?" I said, "Here's the thing. You take out 5 bricks, you put them together in some type of random way that is just your idea. And then you ask them, what should I build next on here?" The imagination, you tap into the imagination of the child and let them guide you with what you're going to build. If I said it's hard for AFOLs and adults to sit down and step out of the rigid linear mindsets that we have and actually go back into our free thinking imagination mindsets of this box is a brick. No, it's not a brick. It's a fluffy cloud that I'm going to make. And being able to just let your mind free flow into something else is hard for adults to do, because we've grown out of it and been constrained by adulthood. And I said, let his imagination flow into your build of what you're doing. So you're building with him, and you're literally physically building with him, because he's going to make suggestions to you. I said, then let him pick out 5 more bricks and then guide you a little bit on what he's building. So now he's building with you. He's not building his own thing, and you're not building your own thing. You're building something with him, but he's the imagination, and you're just making sure everything goes in the right places and goes together. It's like, I didn't even think about doing something like that. I just literally sitting at the table across from him while he builds something, and I'm trying to build something too. I said, no, sit next to him, sit in the same chair. Let him sit in your lap. He's 4 years old. He'll fit, and then build together. Let him guide what you're building. So
that's awesome. All right. We'll have to try that. That sounds really good. So I've learned that one of my biggest problems, I've worked in construction for 25 years now. I see in straight lines and right angles.
Yeah.
And that's how my brain functions, because of all the building. So now I get all the stuff in front of me, and we have Lego has so many great parts now. Like any angle you want to create within reason, you can basically make happen now.
Yep, that's very true.
But mentally, I can't take turns. Everything ends up square. And I tried to do a recolor on a set. What was it? The Supply Llama from Fortnite.
Yeah.
I thought it would be cool to change that to the Dreams Villains palette. So you get the dark purple and the dark blues in there, and kind of turn the llama into like a raven almost.
Yep.
Like, all right, I'm gonna do that. I got all the parts for it. Let's make it happen. I could not do it because the lines were not straight, and the way that they had the build was driving me crazy. Because it's animal kind of texture, right?
Yeah.
My mind couldn't make it happen, and I was getting so frustrated.
I absolutely love building with cheese wedges and stuff like that. When you're building animals and stuff like that, and you're using the cheese wedges as fur or something like that, to go through and purposely make them out of alignment and stuff like that, to put texture to it. Chewbacca. Everything, you got to get everything lined up and stuff like that, because he's a linear build like that, but going in and turning pieces sideways or just slightly off canter to break up the silhouette. And the only way that I've been able to actually trick my brain into thinking that is thinking camouflage. Straight lines are rigid, where if I turn it or something like that, it is free flow, so it breaks up those lines. It's camouflage. So I need to camouflage the lines.
Okay.
So if I focus on I need to camouflage the lines, I'm not thinking it has to be straight. If that does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It does.
So yeah, being able to say I need to camouflage the lines because he's fuzzy, so I need to camouflage it. Being able to think outside the box of twisting or turning pieces ever so slightly. If it's a single stud piece, find a spot where you're like, okay, that doesn't irritate me, and leave it.
Okay.
Even if it's not straight, you're like, okay, this is okay. It doesn't irritate me as much. So, and then move on to the next piece, and don't think back of I need to go straighten that. Just okay, I need to camouflage this line over here where I've got a plate on top of a plate on top to a smaller plate with a tile. And yeah, so give it a try with the I need to camouflage it. So.
Okay. All right. Well, the concept of camouflage makes sense to me. So
exactly.
I think I can work with that, because we're pattern recognition machines. That's just what we are as people.
Yep.
So if you take away a pattern, it's harder for your eye to grab it, right?
But if you convince yourself that the pattern is supposed to be random because it's camouflage, I know I can have a pattern underneath it, but I'm camouflaging the pattern.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. I like that. I like that. Thank you.
Brick tips with Brick Dad.
Yeah. Great.
So, but yeah, so the way we have it set up now for our building in this house is my daughter has an old wood chest with a big flat deck on the top of it that is her build table. And it's got casters underneath it. So I can roll it around. I've got a concrete floor down here in the basement. So I can roll it around so she can build her city. She builds Friends. So she's got her Friends city, the Emmyville, that is her friend's neighborhood and stuff like that. So we roll it out from under the table and she can build on it and do all that. And then when she's done, we roll it back under the table so it gets put away. She doesn't build as frequently as I do or anything like that. And then we've got on the backside over here, we have a Harry Potter World bench. It's about 12 feet long. And it is literally Harry Potter World. We have Diagon Alley. We've got the Hogwarts Express that runs around the whole table. We've got Privet Drive. We've got pretty much the entire aspect of going from London to Hogwarts Castle on this bench.
Awesome.
And then around the corner over here, I've got Hogsmeade on a separate shelf that is Hogsmeade Village around the corner over there. And the way it's set up is it's all the original dollhouse style builds. I try not to 360 builds other than modulars for display purposes. And that way the kids can still get into Harry Potter because it is a shared theme that we all know, love, and are passionate about. So the kids can still get in and play with the figures and move stuff around and reenact the story on this entire bench over here. So that's the shared area where they can play and build and do stuff like that. So yeah, so that's that. And then I've got a bench over on this side, which is my modular bench, which is the city. And there's the way it's set up. I've got some green tiles. Well, let's see if I can do this real quick. See if I can grab my other camera here and maybe give you a glimpse of what I've got going on here. Let's see if I can. Let's see, can I add a camera here? Okay, bear with me. I'm going to step out of camera for a second and throw this other one in.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
So this is the modular bench that I have over here. And the green areas, the grass areas, are literally just 32 by 32 plates, base plates that are slide ins. So we can change them out. Like the Christmas tree is there for holiday. I've got a Statue of Liberty that slides right in. We've got the construction equipment. Wherever the kids want to play, I only have to put the construction equipment close to it so that I know that that's where they're playing. So awesome. that way it doesn't freak me out if I come in and stuff's moved or changed. If I see the construction equipment being moved, I know, okay, the kids are playing over there and stuff like that. The buildings themselves, they don't mess with. And the reason being with that is sidewalks and stuff like that, yes, but like taking the floors off or anything like that, they don't mess with because most of them are wired for lights.
Okay.
So, but yeah, moving cars down the streets or stuff like that. I've got a new section that's going to be added. That's going to be about a 4.5 foot T coming off. That'll have the new section of modulars because I've got about 6 more modulars to put together to put in the city. So awesome. It's going to be a big horseshoe once it's done with all of the modulars and stuff like that. So,
wow.
But so I'll pull this off and just show you what we've got here. So, oh, anybody get seasick? I'm sorry. Okay, so over here is the Hogwarts bench. And then down there at the end, you can see London and all of that. And it's a little torn apart right now because it was actually on display at Bricks and Minifigs for most of last year, after Brick World. So June until Christmas, February, Hogwarts and all that was on display at the Bricks and Minifigs. And then
cool.
There's the cart down there. That's my daughter's Emmyville.
Awesome.
So, but yeah, and then you guys saw the display that's back behind me there.
Oh, and then you're gone.
And I'm back. Am I back?
Nope, you're a white circle.
I'm back. Okay.
There you are.
Forgot to turn the camera back on.
Whoops.
So, but yeah, and then this over here are some of my notable collectible ones that are significant to me or stuff like that. I've got a White House, a set, and a Capitol building, places I've been and met people and stuff like that. And Star Wars is a new theme, not new theme, but a new aspect that we're going to start building. We're going to do another bench, probably over here somewhere. That'll be a Mos Eisley, Mos Espa desert bench. That'll be a Mandalorian Disney Star Wars, if that helps. So not the classic trilogy style, but we're talking Disney TV show style that the kids are familiar with. Okay. So we're going to do the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett. Those are going to be on that bench. So a little step aside from what most Star Wars builds are, because everybody loves to have the old school classic Star Wars stuff, X-Wing fighters, the Millennium Falcon, all those things. If we do a Millennium Falcon, it'll probably be half buried in the desert. So it'll be it's a wrecked, it's been the old version of the Millennium Falcon that is maybe flyable. So
cool.
But that's a rough what my Lego room is. Now I didn't really show you too much, but there's a table literally right in the middle right now that is filled with all of the classic pirate ships and all of the ships that Lego has ever made, as well as several custom ones and the new Bricklink Thieves of Tortuga. That's what I'm actually using right now for the Lego show tours, is taking that and setting up like an ocean table of ships. So people can come up to the table, see the classic ships that they remember from their childhood, and then some of the new modern ships, as well as some mocks that I've built to go with the others. So
anyway, I'm trying to remember, because I saw pictures of one of the displays. Did you extend one of those ships and make it bigger? Am I remembering that right?
Not really. The ship that I think you're thinking of or talking about is a off-brand set.
Oh, okay.
Some of the expos I go to, I will take off-brand sets so that people can see that there are other things than Lego on the market. And when people are like, "Oh, that's fake Lego. It's poor quality. It's terrible," and stuff like that, I'm going to put it on a table next to a Lego ship. And then if they're the type that are going to say those things, I'm going to ask them. I said, "Which one's the Lego ship?" Well, they both are. That one's the one you mocked. You made that one. That one's the set. And I'm going to say, "No, they're both sets. That one's from that brand. That one is from Lego," so that they can actually have some tangibility. Lego is not the only brand. As much as we love Lego, and Lego sets a standard in the brick world of what expectations are, there are other brands out there.
Yeah.
And I've delved into several of them, and I'm still an affiliate for several. Lumi Bricks, Mold King, JM Bricklayer. I'm an affiliate for them. They occasionally will reach out and say, hey, we want your ideas and thoughts on this set. They'll send it to me. I'll do a technical review of it and then make all my notes, my comments and stuff like that, email them back. This is good. This is bad. It doesn't work. You need to change this. You need to change that. It started out where I actually made videos of those reviews, and they're like, hey, could you not do the reviews and just send them back so then we can correct those things and get it on market? And I'm like, okay, yeah, if that's what you want, I don't have a problem with that. And they're like, you still keep the sets, you still, there's still gifts to you for your expertise. So yeah, I've actually picked up several sets from different brands that have asked for my review based on what they've seen from me and stuff like that, going, hey, we know you do this series of things. Could you take a look at this and tell us, is it compatible with that? Is it at a high enough quality to compete? So, and the one you were talking about, bear with me. I'm going to step away for 1 second.
Wow. I didn't think it was that big. That's incredible.
This way I can hear you back. So,
wow.
This is the Mold King, not Black Pearl.
Wow.
The measurement on this thing here is, let's see if I can get the top of the mast. Yeah, there it is, the top of the mast. This thing stands about 32 inches tall. And can I get it in the frame? There you go. There you go. Yeah, I can't even get the whole ship in the frame. So,
wow.
But yeah.
32. Okay, so that's gotta be 40 inches wide anyway, right?
It's 46 inches long. It's just shy of 48 inches long. Wow. Yeah. It's 6 inches shorter than the Titanic.
Unreal.
So, and then with the mast height at, I think I said 32, but it's 28.
Okay.
Just over 28 inches tall, I believe. So, but yeah, I've got probably about 40 figures on it right now. And you can see up on the deck how sparse they are. But this is a triple deck. You've got a bottom hull, you've got a midsection cannon section, and then you've got an upper deck cannon section, as well as back here at the back, you have a captain's quarters. Midship here, you have an officer's quarters, and then all of the enlisted quarters are down underneath it, in between cannons and stuff like that. So,
wow.
Ship-wise, this is on par with any ship that I've built from Lego. So
unreal.
And it is a solid build. I one hand carry it, and it's a solid build. So now let's see if I can get it over here real quick. Yeah, the amazing thing with that ship is, unless I'm mistaken, right now it's still a retail ship for just about the same price as a modular set. So $230 ish, I want to say.
Wow. What brand is that one?
That one is Mold King.
Mold King. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a terrible name.
Well, yeah. Well, it's some of the Asian brands haven't had the best translation devices, obviously, when they come up with some of their logos and brands. Lumibricks original brand name,
Funhole,
was Funhole. So yeah, yeah, the conversation I had with them back when that originally happened was interesting with their understanding. Their explanation of it was good. It was intended to be fun for the whole world, fun for everyone. And when they tried to translate it and stuff like that, said, "Oh, well, yeah, it didn't work out right." And I said, "You know, you can keep what you have, but you need to add a 4 between them."
Yeah.
And yeah, so they just like, "Oh, we'll consider rebranding." So Lumibricks is not perfect, but it's definitely a lot more in line with what they produce.
Yeah, for sure.
Illuminated bricks, you know, having the light kits in all of their sets, and that's something that they're very adamant about. Is all of their sets will come with lights. They're never going to do sets that don't have lights. Even the small little flower pickup trucks and small vehicles that they do come with small lights, with a small little light set and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and they've done cool little things that people pick up on, like trying to think. You know, tacos, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she posted about, it's girls and manicures dealing with Lego, and how do you handle that, having a manicure and being into Lego?
Yeah.
And Jen Builds responded with, the tools that she uses to keep her nails in check. And one of them was the tweezers that Lumibricks gives you, and how great those are. It's like, see, yep, yeah, there you go. And it's little things like that are just as important to your branding as the color of your logo. Give people
for sure.
the little things.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna do a little tool talk real quick since we broached that subject. So we mentioned Lumibricks sending tweezers for their light kits and stuff like that. I use these constantly whenever I'm doing electrical wiring or stuff like that. Now everybody is familiar with the standard Lego brick separator and what it does. This is the sticker application tool. Also, occasionally a plate separator as needed and stuff like that. Now, one that hasn't been seen, and I don't know how long, it's a rare piece in and of itself, is this Tyco brick separator.
Wow. Look at that.
It has stud removal at the front. This is actually a slider, so it goes up and down. So once you remove the brick from here, you push it out with the stud. So the try and get the brick out after the fact is super easy with that. Not only that, but it works in a vertical position. Wow. So when you're trying to pull bricks apart and you have to go like that to use the leverage, where this won't work.
Oh yeah.
This one works every time for the leverage tool.
Fantastic.
Not only that, but it has the
axle pusher.
The axle pusher.
Yeah.
And the pin pusher.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can push the axle out on the stud, but you also have the pin pusher, so this will actually push the pin back out.
Nice.
So there's that one. And then now this one is one I got from Mold King. And that is
a hammer.
Now it has a weighted tip with a rubber cover on it. It has a stud remover on here.
Okay.
So if you have rounds or something like that, you can actually put it over the round, go down and pop the round in that respect. If you have a one by tile, a round tile, you can pull it with that. Now, one of the things that this also does is you can remove the pin, the axle that holds the handle in, and you have a single stud remover.
Oh, look at that. Wow. That's
Now,
crafty.
it goes even farther to being able to do pins, placing pins, or removing pins, because it has tweezer tips to grab and pull pins. So you can actually push the pin in between the tweezers as they spread out to grab a pin and remove a pin or install a pin. Because sometimes you know how it's hard to get in and push a pin in places and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so there are tools out there that are often included with kits of off brands that can be very beneficial in the Lego world.
I kind of want to buy a couple different brands now just for their tools.
Right?
Those things are great.
Well, the hammers themselves you can actually find on Amazon. Look for Brick Hammer Tool, or you can search Mold King Hammer, I think, to be able to find the hammer. And this is really nice because it's a soft, gentle tap to be able to, when you're doing mocks and stuff of any size or builds of any size, shoot art pieces where you have to put studs and plates and studs and plates and stuff like that. This thing is invaluable to try and tapping those down without using a $15, $20 jeweler hammer to do that. So while those are nice and better, this works plenty good to do all of that. This one is a rarity that if you can find one, let me know. I'd be surprised. So this is actually well,
that was Tycho.
I'd have to look at the brand again to see exactly. It's an XO for the brand. I can't remember. I've had this one since I was a kid. So yeah, my separator tip is all chewed up just like Legos always get. So but
I would love for somebody to put out like an ultra thin brick separator for when you get like a four, like, I don't know, like a 4x8 plate that's really mashed down. The brick separator won't get in there without really banging up the corners.
I've got a tip for you if you want it. Smashed penny. When you go to historical sites or stuff like that, you know how you put a penny in and you do the crank to flatten a penny.
Oh yeah.
If you've got plate to plate, get one of those pennies. It'll separate it every time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. The 51-cent penny.
Yeah. I actually picked that up from one of the Lego Discovery Center model builders.
Cool.
So he's like, it's perfect for his fingers to hold on to it to separate plates, because he's like, anytime I'm doing a major build and I've got plates and it's metal, so it doesn't ding, it doesn't the plastic will deform before it, but you can get into the corner of a plate just enough because it's smushed just enough to actually get under the corner of a plate to pop the plates up. So
awesome. Yeah, that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
And it's 51 cents, so it's cheap.
Yeah. The 2 quarters and the penny. So yeah, 2 quarters to make it, and then the 1 penny to do it. So
yeah. I remember being a kid and putting change on the train tracks and then hunting for it afterwards to see what it came out like. Yeah.
Find it about 50% of the time, if that.
Yep. Yeah, if we were real lucky. I lived close enough to the train tracks at one point that if people were to put like rocks on the tracks, you'd hear them and they would actually like shatter the siding in the back of the building.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thompsonville, Connecticut. It was a lifetime ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't ever go to that part of town.
So map history, fall back on that. I was born and raised in California. I grew up Central Valley of California. So I had all the culture and everything of California up through high school. Once I graduated high school and joined the military, I was down in Southern California for the first part of it. And then I was stationed overseas in Guam I did 3 years in Guam for a while, and then came back and came out to the Gulf Coast. I was down in Pensacola for about a year and a half, 2 years down there. Went back out to California, and then it was up to Seattle, Washington until retirement, and then out to Arkansas, and then now up here in Chicago. So
you've seen some decent climate shifts in between there too.
I have.
Wow.
Yeah, I spent about 8 months down in Philly for a school back when I first joined. So yeah, it was well back when they still had a Navy yard there that was active Navy. So yeah, 93, 94.
How does that work? Doesn't Navy require water?
Well, they come up the inlet, and then it was just we had a reserve fleet there and schools. So yeah, you come in Philly right there, and you come up the waterway to it, and then you'd be right there in the harbor area. So, but yeah, we were literally right there next to the stadium. Oftentimes I'd sit in the barracks, and my barracks room faced the stadium, which was all of maybe a half mile from us. So I'd open the windows and I could listen to the game through the announcing system in the stadium. And I could have I had a little tiny black and white TV back when they were the big tube, tiny TVs. And I had that there, and I'd turn it on so I could watch the game and actually listen to the game from my barracks room. That was kind of cool.
Nice. That's yeah. That's one of those things that in your youth it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And then later in life it's like, oh, I don't know how anybody deals with that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, listening to the games and stuff like that, and I'm like, how could people live in Philly right around the stadium and stuff like that? And during game season, every weekend, traffic's terrible. You can't go anywhere. Yeah. The sound of the stadium, people walking up and down the streets, going back and forth to the stadiums and all that. So, but yeah, so.
Yeah, they put stadiums in some odd places around the country. It's like
I went to a Red Sox game while I was out in Boston, and I rode the train. And oh my God, trying to get on and off the train and stuff like that. Yeah, it was terrible. It was
Did it break down on you?
No, it was late enough in the evening that they had already all the ones that were going to break down had broke down already. So yeah, so we were waiting on a backup train already, but yeah, it was.
I forget what it was. 2 years ago, maybe. I'm trying to think where we are in the election cycle. So yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. They put a whatever the term is, the Public Transportation Safety Director, I think is the official title there.
Okay.
But they brought somebody in new to kind of like run the T and take care of safety and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So they go and they're like, oh yeah, things aren't as bad as people think. It's uptime is at like 72% or something abysmal. Like, oh, so we're gonna go and we're gonna make all these fixes, blah blah blah, whatever. And a couple of months later, they go and they do some press time, and they put the safety director and the mayor and whatever else. I think it was on the orange line.
Okay.
And while they were recording the press briefing kind of thing, the train broke down.
What an embarrassment! Oh, yeah.
And that's perfect example of how things work here. But it's like it had to happen. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give it to Boston, and the fact that it is the oldest part of the country, so infrastructure, if it hasn't been maintained, even being a train, it's some of the oldest trains in the country. It's older than anything that was on the West Coast for the established train lines and stuff like that, and all that. So, in its defense, there's some age in all of it. So,
yeah, and there's a lot of issues because we don't have any real estate out here. Every inch in the city is occupied.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
and we don't want any more cars on the road. So a big push for public transportation.
Yeah.
So if the trains have downtime for the sake of, renovation, rerouting, upgrades, whatever,
Yeah.
how do those people get to work? Right?
Yeah.
You
Are you
need
trying to run
some way.
buses? You're not running buses because you don't have the
Yep.
buses already. You have to get the
Yep.
buses in to use the buses, and even
Yep.
buses aren't going to run the way trains run. So
Yep.
the
Oh,
volume
I
of
mean,
people and stuff like that. And
yeah, and they take the city buses to get some of the kids to high school. They don't have school buses for them. They put them on the city buses to get them there. So there is no opportunity to fix these things. So I'll
yeah.
cut them some slack because you got to be
Yeah.
fair about it, right?
Yeah.
But it's tough. You hear 3, 4, 8 hour delays. They're sending buses to pick the people up off the train and bring them to where they're supposed to
Right.
go, and then
Yeah.
the people who needed to be on the bus can't take the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, no, I was going the other way on the train.
Yeah, yeah.
The buses
So
are,
then,
we're going to pick you up and take you 3 stops to where you were actually trying to go. But yeah.
yeah, yeah, they're like, oh, so to cut down on traffic, we're going to add in bike lanes, and we're going to suggest people take bikes to work, and then we're going to provide bikes, so you could do like Uber Bike or however the hell that thing works. And you could rent a bike.
But able to put the bike lanes in, we have to take the on-street parking away so that we can, or we're going to take this road and make it a one-way road, even though for the last 100 and something years it's been a 2-lane road going opposite direction. Yeah, no, it's big city infrastructures are always a pain. So, but
it's exciting.
Yeah. Well, I got Chicago up here, so it's we deal with it too, and the L that we got is just as bad, and they actually just made a new law this year for January to take effect that's going to raise taxes on tollways just to support the trains in Chicago. So even if you're anywhere else in Chicago or anywhere else in Illinois on a tollway, the money from that is going to go into the transit authority to be able to supplement the train system. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, those things drive me crazy because, you're in a big state, right? So there are plenty of people who are going to be paying what is essentially a tax, right? A toll is a tax.
Yeah. Yeah.
To fix something that they're never going to take advantage of. They're never ever going to use those trains.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
That's tough.
I can say I've rode the train once, and that was back in 1993, 94 after boot camp. Before I was even a resident of the state. I was still a California resident in 94. So, but yeah, it's the reality of people not riding the train because they live in Southern Illinois next to St. Louis, where they're paying for Chicago.
Yeah, it's tough. That's for brighter minds than mine. I don't know what the right solution is there. Maybe just charge the people who are using it more. I don't know. Like, that's probably not necessarily the best thing either. But I don't know. I hate the idea of anyone under basically any circumstance paying for things that don't impact them in their day-to-day life.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That's what charity's for, right?
Yeah.
Charitable contributions, I'm all for those. I heavily promote them. Everybody should give whatever they can to help everybody out. But that's different than taxes, right?
Now, speaking of travel or location, what is your plan for Lego shows or events or stuff coming up for this year?
All we have on the books is Brick World Chicago for this year.
Awesome.
Yep. We're hopefully going to move to 2 shows next year.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. I think the girls will be at a better age next year.
Okay.
My youngest is 4 right now. I want to give her a little bit more time.
Well, I knew they were young. I wasn't sure if they would come with you or how that would work, but yeah.
No, this Brick World this year. My wife and I will go for the whole week.
Oh, cool.
We're doing Monday to Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a good vacation for us too. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, we're at the point right now where we're starting to work on the details of who's coming, when they're coming, what's happening, and by who I'm saying business or presenters or those types of things, so that we can get the schedule out soon for Brickworld Chicago.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Right?
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, it's maybe while I'm trying to slow down before I fall asleep tonight, I got to order my brick badge.
There you go. Yeah. I'm trying to find my link so I can get in there and actually order mine. So,
who was it? Brightest Witch Bricks. In her story, she actually gave all of the steps to how to make it happen in her story today. I appreciated that.
Yeah,
because I knew I was going to have to fumble with it. So
I still do. I've been doing it for years. I still fumble with it and change over to event manager and stuff like that. We're in the process of trying to get our own app on the books and functional. So you can literally just go to the Brickworld website and click on the app from there, and it'll be a link for each of the shows that we do, because we do Brickworld Chicago, and then we have 3 other expos that we do. We've got Grand Rapids, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Indianapolis as our 3 main expos. Indianapolis is coming up here in March that we'll be going down and doing here soon. So
it's awesome. I wish they were closer. That's a hike, because for a weekend, a small thing.
Yeah,
small, right? I mean, they're still a good size. I would feel the need to bring the kids. That's a lot of travel for 4 of us for 2 nights.
Yeah. No. To get the closest one for you would be probably Grand Rapids or Fort Wayne, probably Fort Wayne, and that's still going to be at least an 8-hour drive, if not more, to get to Fort Wayne, Indiana. So
yeah, that's a hike. I mean, I think Philly is the closest one that happens these days. I think.
Is that Brick Fair?
Is that who runs that one?
I think so. Brick Fair had Virginia, and I want to say Philly or right around Philly.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that sounds right. Because I thought Philly had ended a couple years ago, and then there was talk that Philly happened like a month or 2 ago or something.
It did.
Fair amount of reason.
Yeah, and I think they're having some problems right now is because Virginia lost their venue this last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the confusion of trying to do all that, their promotion of the Philly show didn't really get a lot of attention because they were trying to manage the Virginia aspect. So
yeah, that's tough.
Philly's there, and Philly was only 2 years old, 3 years old now. It's a recent addition to Brick Fair.
Okay.
So
yeah, by the time I heard that it was happening, it was like 2 or 3 weeks away, and it was like, no, wrong time of year for me.
Yeah. So we've got those the 4 shows that we have right now. We used to have 2 other shows. We had a Milwaukee show that we did, and then we also had a Holiday Joy show, which was a Christmas spectacular that we did here in Chicago as well. It was a small venue show, a fraction of the size of the normal Brickworld Chicago show, even smaller than our expos. It was the smallest show that we did. And we didn't do it this year just because where we normally do it raised their prices, and we'd have to renegotiate contract to do all of that. And the revenue coming in from the show, it was just a hard time of the year because it's a Christmas show. So, so we couldn't justify it right now. But
so trying to think about your timeline here. Probably just be easier to ask than to try to map it out in my head. Um, so landing in Chicago and then coming back into Lego,
Yeah.
when did you start with Brick World then? While attending Brick Worlds anyway.
Landing back in Chicago is probably about a year and a half, 2 years of being up in the Chicagoland area. First year, I actually didn't even attend Chicago that year. I actually went up and attended Milwaukee as my first show, which was an expo show.
Huh.
And it wasn't actually that I made contact with Brick World or anything like that. I actually found the show circuit from being in a lug, being on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I got approached by a friend that said, "Hey, I've seen what you build and how you build and stuff like that. You would be a good addition in our lug." And I was like, "Okay, tell me a little bit about it," because I wasn't familiar with what a lug was at that point. Explained, the Lego user group of adult fans of Lego, and the people that get together, build Lego, go to shows and host events and do stuff like that. And the lug that I'm a member of is the Fox Lug out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I'm like, I'm not really close. I'm an 8-hour drive from Green Bay, so I'm not like in the neighborhood to, hey, you want to draft some parts and share some pieces and see what's going on. So he's like, oh, no, that's fine. We do virtual and stuff like that too. The only thing is, we do a show this year. We'd like you to be a part of the show. I'm like, okay, is it a 1-day show? Am I driving like 8 hours up, being there for 4 hours, then drive back and stuff? Like, oh, no. Being friends with them is like, come stay at my house. I've got a guest room. You can come stay with me. We'll do the show. And then Sunday evening or Monday, whichever you prefer, you can drive back home. So I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll come up and do the show. So I went up, stayed at my friend's house and set up, did the show. It's a small little community show. It was our lug and then K-Lug, which is Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And it's in a community center where they pretty much give us the community center and say, hey, do the show. They charge $1 admission. I think maybe $2 now, but it was like a $1, $2 show, and all of the money goes back into the community center. So
cool.
Yeah, it was great. So we went up and did that, and that was the second show that I did. The first one was I went up to Milwaukee and I met them. I met the lug in Milwaukee when they were displaying at the show. And then at that point they said, hey, do you want to come up and display with us at this small, tiny show? And I'm like, okay, sure. Cool. Yeah, I'll do that. So then I did that. And then it just exploded from there into Brick World. And I'm at the point now where this last year, I was asked to come on staff for Brick World Chicago. Not just Brick World Chicago, but Brick World in general. And so now I'm actually a Playbrick activities manager for Brick World. Are you familiar with Brick Derby or what Brick Derby is?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So that's my main event that I manage and take care of is I have Brick Derby at all of the Brick World shows. So I manage the races, the brick, the play aspect and all of that, as well as any events or anything outside of the normal show schedule. So if somebody wants to do a activity with Lego or something like that, they can reach out to Brick World and say, hey, do you have any Playbrick people that could come and do an event? So I do stuff like that. So
cool.
Yeah. So I take an entire Brick Derby track. I take a couple totes of brick. I take a big tote of chassis and cars and weights, and I go and I have kids build cars and then race cars and stuff like that. So
that's fun.
I'm really hopeful with the smart brick that's coming being integrated into that, because one of the aspects with the smart brick is being able to race smart brick against smart brick against smart brick, and them actually recording what the place is, first, second, third, stuff like that. Winner, loser, it's some of the things that the smart bricks will be able to do that has been mentioned but not talked about.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's cool. Huh. All right. Good night, Tron. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm gonna try to reserve all judgment until I can see the smart brick work.
Well, when we did the live,
so much potential.
We did the live on Sunday, and that was the closing comments I had about it was to wait until you can physically see the brick to pass judgment on it, because the integration that they're going to have outside of just Star Wars with the city sets, with Marvel, with other IPs that they're going to put it in, which are already slotted to go in, is going to be far superior to the I don't like it in my set Star Wars perspective, which is the biggest complaint right now about the smart brick. It ruins the design of the set. It's a totally fair judgment. Unfortunately, that's a set judgment, not a smart brick judgment. You're not judging the brick, you're judging the set. So to try and say the set is terrible because of the smart brick is a little bit of a fallacy in my perspective. Because, yeah, it complicates the build of it, but you don't like it because it doesn't look like the right X-Wing. The playability and all of that is far superior to a basic, I'm going to put it on my shelf and have it as a display X-Wing. So.
Well, I can see the argument, though, that there's only so many slots for Star Wars every year.
Oh, of course.
If a bunch of them are being taken up by the smart brick, then there's less opportunity to get the ones that they're looking for. However, if you look at the list of leaks or whatever for this year, everyone bitched about the smart brick, and then they saw the next list of leaks, and they're like, "Holy shit, this list is amazing!" It's like, okay, well, settle down, guys.
Yeah.
You're still going to have your fun too.
The number of sets that are going to be available or allowed for an IP to release is actually going to be bumped a couple because of the smart bricks. Lego has taken and said, we're going to allocate X number of sets in all of the sets. IPs, different IPs will get X number of sets. This IP will get this X number of sets. So they will be slightly outside of the normal how many set requirement is allowed per IP.
Okay.
So to say, okay, Star Wars gets, let's say 22 sets for the year of poly bags up to UCS sets. And 4 of those are going to be smart brick sets. They may bump that and add 2 extra to that, making it 24 sets instead of 22 sets. So it doesn't necessarily hit that allocation quite the same, because the Lego IP with the smart brick trying to be integrated into it. So there may be some leeway with the number of sets. So I don't think it's going to affect it. Come June, perspectives are going to be completely different. There will be a 180 on the smart brick. Star Wars still won't like them. Any Star Wars fan is going to say, screw that, get it out of my IP. I guarantee that. And that was a poor choice. That's kind of like putting a GWP with the Pokemon set in pre-order.
Yep.
Bad choice, but they sold out. That's what their goal was.
Yeah, so it'll be back. I'm fully convinced that GWP will be back on the 27th, February 27th.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, but the actually, I was messaging Lego day before yesterday, and I told them, I said, hey, at least we need to get a couple more teasers out for the city sets to draw some of the attention away from the Star Wars hate that everything's getting. I said, put it back on the non-IP as a example. And they actually had a video that they released yesterday, I think, an advertisement video on the smart brick. You can find it on their IG, on their, I don't know if it's on the actual Lego page or not, but it was a smart play advertisement that was out there with some of the city sets, or not city sets, but creator sets, I think, of the play stuff. And so there's more information that's going to be coming that can show the capabilities outside of, well, it doesn't even say the right lines. It doesn't, R2 makes the right beeps, but Luke doesn't say the right lines. It's all digitized. Yeah, there's a reason why, and that's because it's an international set. And if you try to translate it every single country, you've now expanded the cost for writing software and everything to do all of that. Where if you give a mumbled Charlie Brown sound wave with it, it's universal, and now it goes as long as it's close to, you can identify that it sounds like something, a sound you would hear from him. Okay, R2, something like that. But
so I wonder about that. So now that makes perfect sense in regards to Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Thinking Disney though.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that a lot of people learn English watching Disney.
True.
Like specifically, Disney songs. So if you were to have like a Friends Frozen set or something, could you have Elsa sing "Let It Go" when you stick her on the music box or whatever?
No, it'll be a sound. It'll be a music wave instead of a verbal. So it'll be it won't be the words. It's like
but you
yeah.
Okay, but you'd still recognize the song well enough.
Exactly. Yeah. So the tune will still follow the flow of the music. So you'll place the words with the song when you hear the tune.
Gotcha. All right. No,
because even with the Disney songs, if you listen to it in translation, the tune will still say the same. But the language will be slightly different for how it portrays the words or the verbiage for the grammar of it. So
when you get an IP, like you sign a license, Lego with Star Wars, Disney, whatever there, do they only have to sign up with, so let me try to word this better. Okay, so they go and they do a Star Wars set.
Yeah.
They can just use whatever characters they want because it's the visual representation of the character, not the actor, right? So like Star Wars owns Luke Skywalker. They don't own Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill,
right?
Correct. Yeah.
They're not making a Mark Hamill minifigure. They're making Luke Skywalker.
Correct. Yeah. And that's, see, what that is, if you took the Luke Skywalker figure and as the farm boy Luke, that is Mark Hamill. If you take the head and the hair off and you put him in a sweatshirt and pants, that's Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
So, but it's not a registered Mark Hamill figure. It is a Luke Skywalker head, a character head on a different torso. So it may all be certified Lego parts that were in this set or something like that. So unless it is a unique print specific to a signature of Mark Hamill, then it's not a registered infringement on Mark Hamill's rights.
Okay. Yeah. So kind of what I'm thinking here is, well, in this example, Disney doesn't have to pay Lego doesn't have to pay Mark Hamill as long as they put Luke Skywalker on the box. If they put Mark Hamill, that's separate.
Correct.
That's a separate license, right?
Yeah.
Does that also apply to songs? if they were to actually use, say, the American vocalist for any of these songs, are those vocals owned by Disney, or is the vocals owned by? Okay.
Yeah, under the IP, any music that was contracted or conducted for any of the Star Wars films or Disney films or stuff like that, those are all registered under Disney Entertainment for their uses and their purposes. So they license those rights to that IP, then those will be associated. But those are going to be in the contract and in the guidelines, because with Star Wars and Lucasfilms, specifically in their IP rights, they will say that you can only produce these vehicles. You can't produce vehicles outside of this scope because we don't want those vehicles. Those vehicles have already been allocated for Hasbro products through an IP with Hasbro. So you get these vehicles, Hasbro gets these vehicles. There may be some crossover on some of those vehicles, but for the most part, it'll be in the contract saying these are the set guidelines of what can be produced under this IP rights.
Okay. I never thought about the impact of other brands. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so if Hasbro's got a big line of, I don't know, whatever, Jedi Starfighters this year, then it's a lot less likely.
3 3/4 minifigures, all of the playset minifigures that used to be done, like G.I. Joe figures.
Yeah,
all of those were a separate IP, and you have another IP that's building Hot Wheels, that's building the Land Speeder Hot Wheels car.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah, because Hasbro's got to divide it up. Was it 4 ways now? They got retro collection, it was a vintage collection, Black Series, and I want to say there's a 4th one. I don't remember what it is there.
But yeah, and that's the thing too, is under a company like Hasbro, they would have to have an IP right for each of those lines, because Disney and Lucasfilm will say, okay, well, this is not acceptable on this line. This is acceptable on this line, because this line is characters. This one is ships. This one over here is play sets. So each one of those IPs are going to fluctuate on what their terms of use are going to say.
Man, you imagine what the bill is for that legal department.
Well paid. That's all you got to say. Well paid. So
yeah. Which is why there's a Star Wars tax, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Somebody posted today a price comparison with the whatever it is, the 3 or 4 Pokemon sets we know about.
Yeah.
Comparing the same price sets in Star Wars and piece counts. Pokemon is not that expensive when you compare it to Star Wars. It's just unbelievable.
That's very true, but you have to factor in that it's still IP tax.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I want to see them do the same thing, but compare it to Lego internal IPs, to Ninjago sets of the same part count, of the same piece count, to Pirates, or or any other series, a modular of the same part count.
I would like people to just ignore that part and not bring it to Lego's attention, because I really appreciate the price of Ninjago sets. I'm very happy with them. It's definitely my top 2 or 3 themes, I think. I mean, Ninjago makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
Like as a consumer.
Yeah.
Like it's the price point is great just in general. The quality of the builds is pretty good. You always get like that odd one here and there that's just kind of terrible, but that's fine. The minifigure selection is solid. Like the quantity for your price is very good.
Speaking of the new product line that's coming out with their 15th anniversary sets and stuff like that, the new Uh, See, I'm not big into Ninjago, but the new town one, the big one that they just came out with, that's the
Yep.
modular. Are these ones that are on your radar of I'm gonna be grabbing this for a collectible or
So the town one's tough for me because you either need a lot of room to set it up and play with it properly,
okay?
or I think you need depth to display it because that one's cool because you can either like stretch it out or you can kind of stack it deep to make it work,
Okay. Yep.
which is fun, right? I like that you get some options there. I don't have anywhere to display that like at all at this point.
Okay.
Most of the bigger stuff is purchased and put in storage.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of display space. I have a lot of this that just gets in the way.
Workspace.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
gotcha. Yeah.
display space is mostly up there on
Nice.
top
Okay.
of all of the racks. Uh,
Nice.
now my oldest has her area to display all of her stuff. I
Okay.
would much rather allocate the space to her and her collection, and I'll just take tops of racks, you know.
I totally get that. Yeah. My
Yeah.
son's room up there, he's got, I'd say 2/3 of his shelving in his room has Lego on it. He's got his Star Wars ships. And it's funny too, because these are the ships that he built. So he
Cool.
put this X-Wing together. That's his X-Wing. It stays in his room. Now I've got 3 more X-Wings sitting on the shelf down here, different versions of it and stuff like that. But he's like, no, that one I built. So that stays in my room. His Razor
Cool.
Crest. It's not the UCS Razor Crest. It's the smaller, the medium-sized Razor Crest with minifigs. He's like,
Yeah.
he built that one. That one was his too. So, and there's several other Star Wars builds that he keeps down there. And when he gets another set that like takes more priority, he may bump one of those, say, okay, you can put it downstairs now in the basement. But he has his shelf, and he's big on the Simpsons. So he just got his
Cool.
Simpson house this last year. So saved up some money and paid for half of it because it's a retired set. So he paid for that. And it was a brand new in the box.
Wow.
So he's like, I want to build it. I said, okay, it's going to cost to get that. If you want to buy a used one, we'll take it apart and then you can build it at that point. He's like, no, I want to open the bags. I want to actually build it. I said, okay, no problem.
Wow.
So he funded half of it. I funded the other half. And I said, just so you know, the reason that I'm funding the other half is so you can never sell it without my permission. So that's the rules in the house is unless you buy it outright, it's not yours to sell. Or if it was a gift, of course, those type of things. So he did it. He bought the Krusty Burger this year for his birthday completely on his own. He's like, that one's mine.
Wow.
I own that one. And he sat down here and built it. And like I said, he's a instruction builder. So he'll build a bag and then he'll take a break. Then he'll come back, he'll build a bag, then he'll take a break. 2 days go by, he'll come back in, build another bag, and be good. And I have a hard time with that. I'm like, hey, you haven't built in like 4 or 5 days. You know, you got a bag sitting down there. Do you want to build? Because if not, I'll go build it for you. And he's like, no, that's mine. I'm going to build it. And so we have that battle sometimes of I have a hard time with when I start building, I just want to build.
Yep.
And I started a mock for Brickworld Chicago this year as a collaborative build. And I started building on it and I just got into it and I built for like 7 hours straight until like 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even know what time it was. This is my build bench right here. I've got small totes of parts that when I start to build, I'll segregate parts so I have it close on hand. So that my normal Lego storage is way over on the other side of the room. And what I'll do is I'll get all the pieces that I need in buckets, and I have sort trays like this right here that'll have pieces that I'll just dump in there, and then I'll build off of that bucket. And then
Cool.
yeah, so I keep those on a shelf here. But I started building that. Yeah, like 7 hours straight. And I was like down here until 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was hard because the wife got up 3 hours later and she's like, "What time did you come to bed?" I'm like, "It was still dark out." That's all you need to worry about.
Yeah.
So,
what time would you like me to tell you I came to bed?
yeah. She's like, "When I got up at 1 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom, you weren't in bed yet." I'm like, "You were absolutely correct. I was not." But I hit spurts like that where it calms me and puts me in a new mindset. And it's nice because she actually understands because of our past and because of everything. It's like if I start doing that, it's totally cool. I don't have a job where I have to get up in the morning to go to work or do things like that. So I'm blessed in that respect. She has a couple rules that if I do that, she's like, "Okay, but here's the thing is when you do go to bed, you have to be up by this time in the afternoon or lunchtime so that you stay on a normal rotation for sleep schedule." And that's her biggest concern is don't stay up so late that it throws off your sleep cycle so that you can't still function with the family. Yep. So, but yeah, so
it's a reasonable request.
Yeah. And well, that's the thing too, is she works and she usually works evenings too. So I'm home when the kids get out of school and stuff like that. So as long as I'm parenting in the afternoons while she's at work still, she's like, "If you sleep in, that's fine." I get up in the mornings with the kids because she's got to go to work. She gets up in the mornings with the kids when she has to go to work. So she gets up, they eat breakfast, they have their family time in the mornings and stuff like that. And then she'll head off to work, the kids head off to school, and then I get up and I'll do chores and take care of stuff around the house that I normally take care of and stuff like that. So, but yeah, but it's a blended family and we all have things that we share and go through and deal with from all of our traumas and stuff like that. So
are there still moments where you don't know how to interact with the kids? Maybe that's not the right word. Where you don't boundaries, I guess, is the thing. Do boundaries get weird?
They are and they're not. No, I totally get what you're leading into, the question wise and stuff like that. So being the fact that I'm not their birth father, that aspect is very relevant to all of us. We have a wall up in our living room that has pictures of me with my late wife. There's pictures of Jenny with her husband. There's pictures of them with the kids, and then we have a picture of us with me and Jenny together with the kids as a family picture and stuff like that. So we don't try to gloss over or hide any of that. What we do is we make it relevant and we keep them in our lives every day. So when the kids are doing something silly, I don't say, "Stop acting like your mom." I say, "Stop acting like your dad." So when they're doing things that are fun, laughable, playful things, we put it on the parent that's gone.
Okay.
So that they still say, "Oh, that's cool. My dad was cool. My dad laughed. My dad joked. My dad did these things and stuff like that." And when they're being annoying, I said, "Stop acting like your mom." And they laugh and they're like, I was not. So, but but then there's also times where they do something that's just a little funny or something like that. And it's a character trait of their mom. And I'll point that out too. I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're acting like your mom right now." So, but we keep them still active in our lives. So we still acknowledge their birthdays or anniversaries or those types of events in our lives. So the boundaries are there, but they're not there.
Okay.
In the world that we live in, with everything that we've done, there are events that come up that are specifically for surviving children of military loss. So it's called Gold Star programs. And every year, Gary Sinise does a special event at Disney called the Snowball Express. And he selects periodically Gold Star surviving families to go to Disney for a Christmas event. And Gary Sinise takes them down. They spend like 3 or 4 days down there, and they have all access pass to Disney World, Epcot, all of the Disney parks and everything. They're put up in the Disney hotel, and it's a big making new memories, even though you lost your parent. So as hard as it is for me sometimes to not be able to partake in those types of things because I'm not their parent in that respect, the surviving parent is their mom. So she and the kids will go down and they'll have their Disney trip and stuff like that. It's hard for me sometimes because of those types of boundaries where I can't go and be a participating parent, but it's not in any way out of disrespect for their dad or the fact of his sacrifices.
Mm.
So it's sometimes it's a challenge to remember those boundaries of the reason that they're getting to do this or the reason they're getting to do that is because of the sacrifices that came from those. Me not having any younger children are not privileged to those types of activities. So if we were to take a trip to Disney, to Universal, to anywhere, it's unfortunate and true that we are just like every other family at that point where we're paying to do that. So any special recognition for the lost people doesn't happen. So it's difficult for me in that respect to have an event where I can pay tribute to my late wife because we don't have any kids together, any kids that are of that age or anything like that. So there's a little bit of a divide in that respect, but it really falls hard on me to make sure that I stay accountable to myself for why they're there and to acknowledge that without coming down like, wish I could go. You know, it's an advantage and a blessing for them to be able to do it even to begin with. Now, in the parenting side of things, in daily life, I wouldn't say there are really any boundaries. I'm lucky in the respect that I knew who their dad was. I knew him when he was 18, 19, 20 years old. So at times watching his son behave the way he did when he was 18, 19 years old is a warm spot for me, remembering his dad.
Yeah.
So it keeps him relevant to me as well when I see him do things that his dad used to do. And I'm also in a unique position where I can actually tell stories to not only the kids, but to Jenny about things that he used to do when he was 18, 19 years old, because she didn't know him when he was young, when he was that age. I did. So I knew their dad before, or her husband, before he was relevant to them. So I can talk about stupid things that he would do that were not stupid, but immature things that an 18, 19-year-old kid as a young adult doesn't think about.
Yeah.
You know, so being able to share those types of stories are fun for me in that respect. And it breaks down a lot of those barriers or those walls of the standoffishness between me being the bonus dad versus the late dad.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well that answered your question, but it's the same for Emmy also, with one exception, and that's the fact that she was so young when her dad passed away. She has very few memories of him.
Okay.
So in order to help foster that, I have to give her those memories of him that she didn't get the chance to make because she was only about 6 months old, maybe 8
Wow.
months old when he passed away. So she was still in diapers, and at those ages, she doesn't have memory forms
Yeah.
of her dad or stuff like that. So she has to recall off of pictures to make those memories. So she doesn't have physical memories of that. So to her, I'm dad. I am the dad. So
Yeah.
sorry, talking with my hands. Um, but I get to, for lack of better terms, be both dads by sharing the memories of him to her. So
That's a lot. Like that is
it
that
is. It is.
man. So how much time have you put into studying how to deal with this? Or is it reading? Is it counseling? Is it just a good marriage that puts all these things together?
I so wish I could narrow it down to a couple points to answer that. Um, One, I'm not a big reader because I'm dyslexic. So
Okay.
the ability to sit down and read through a self-help book, if you will, is beyond my scope of being able to do something like that. Now, you put a technical manual in front of me, it's like that linear thinking. I can read step by step through a technical manual of how it's explained and mechanics and all of that type of stuff because of the way my brain works. The therapy slash counseling side of things, not really. I've never really had any grief counseling. A lot of it is, for me, it's literally just about 2 years, 2.5 years of self reflection of who and I am as a person, and literally slowing the world down around me to just reflect and process where I'm at. It's unfortunate that so many people that go through stuff that I have gone through can't take that time to actually go through that process. Most people are in my circumstance or go through the things that I go through, they're still trying to work a full-time job. They're still raising kids. They're still trying to pay their bills. They're still trying to do all of this stuff. And for me, I did lose my house. I did lose cars. I did lose 90% of the household income that we had coming in when my wife died. I had to, for a little while, find an extra income. I got fired from a job because I almost hit somebody because I hadn't been able to process and go through my grief process. Um, while I was going to college, uh, after at the same time my wife died, I was working at a O'Reilly Auto Parts store. I was an assistant manager managing evening shifts at the O'Reillys. And when my wife died, only thing I could do was go back to work because I had bills I had to pay and stuff like that. And when I went back to work, they're like, "Hey, are you sure you're okay to do that?" And I'm like, "I don't have a choice right now." And because my mindset was, I got to save my house, I got to save my car, I got to make money so I can pay these things off and stuff like that. And a customer came in and was asking for something. I don't even remember half of it now, other than they were asking for something, and I just snapped at them. I'm like, your biggest problem is this little mechanical thing for your car. I have all of this on my shoulders and stuff like that, and you could care less about me or what I've got going on. And you're worried about this, and you're mad at me because I don't have one in stock. And, I type in the computer, I can get it for you in a day. That's not soon enough. I need it tonight. So I snapped at him and literally almost jumped across the counter to hit them because I had so much rage, so much everything inside of me at that point. And I was I was told by the store manager at that point, so like, okay, here's the thing. You're on leave for the next 2 weeks. If those once those 2 weeks are up, we'll decide together whether or not you're ready to go back to work. And I never went back to work.
Oh.
So it was, and it was I work, I make money, I keep my house, my car. I don't go back to work, I lose the house, I lose the car, but I find myself. And in that whole process of coming to that reality during that 4-week period, the 2 weeks she gave me, plus the additional 2 weeks after that, because I wasn't capable of going back to work, it was okay. I'm giving up the house. I'm giving up the cars. I don't have a wife anymore. I don't need them. So it's not relevant to me. It's not a significant thing that I have to hold on to. Yeah, I have memories here. So that was the hardship of the memories that I had from that location, but realizing I wasn't giving up the memories. I was only giving up the location. So self-reflection of going through all of the stuff I went through, and then just self-processing it, slowing myself down to actually comprehend how to go through this, of what was significant to collapse back down on my small bubble to protect myself. What did I need to survive? I needed my memories. I needed a few mementos that were significant things to me. And then I needed just to take care of myself. Personal hygiene, health, dental, eating right. All of those things sacrificed immediately after my wife passed away. It wasn't until I got those things straightened out. And one day there was a reality check where I sat up in bed, I turned my feet, I put my feet down on the ground, and I realized my wife, before she passed away, wasn't able to do this. And how blessed I was to be able to just sit up in the bed from a laying down position, to sit up, turn in the bed, and put my feet on the ground and actually feel my feet without sharp pains, needles, all of this stuff. Now, I didn't discuss what all the issues were before my wife passed away, but she had some significant medical conditions that limited her abilities and stuff like that. She slept in a recliner next to the bed because she couldn't lay on her back. She had back surgery and had multiple vertebrae fused, so the ability for her to sit up wasn't there anymore. So it made some complications for her sleeping and lifestyle and just all of that in general. So, but it was that moment when I realized I'm doing something that my wife couldn't do before she passed away. And then it went from there of I can now walk from the bed to the bathroom to go take a shower. She had to do it with a walker or a cane. And then it continued to progress through that. And then I spent probably about a month and a half staring at myself every day in the mirror, telling myself I'm good enough. And it was the hardest thing for the first week to 2 weeks of actually looking myself in the eyes to justify that my existence was still good enough, even without her there or any of my stuff. So telling myself I'm good enough was everything to get me outside of that. But yeah, making those steps from I can do something that I don't know how many people in the world can't do. Sit up from a laying position and put their feet on the ground next to the bed. That was the epiphany for me of I can do this. I can move forward from this. Now, I won't tell you how many days I spent walking up and down the Old Town district where I lived, and stopping every now and then and sitting on a park bench and just sitting there and watching people walk by oblivious to the world around them. I would literally sit there, smell the magnolia trees that were around me and the bushes and stuff like that, and watch people walk by, faces in their phones, jabbering back and forth to each other, not paying any attention to anything else in the world because people are so in their bubbles nowadays. So yeah, so just finding myself again after that. And so, like I said, I wish I could say there was like a book or something that I read that was just out there, but more it was stopping and listening to my body, my mind, and my soul and my heart tell me, breathe for a minute, take a deep breath, be alone for a minute, and find reality again of what is important in life.
That's so hard, even for normal Tuesdays for regular people, like at any point in time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's God. And like, honestly, Verizon had a problem today. I don't know if you experienced that or heard about it.
I'm a Verizon customer too, so yeah.
Yeah. Ruined my day. Ruined my day. And it's like something as simple as that screws up the whole day. And it's like, man, is that really a problem? That is not really
it's funny that you mentioned that because today I get up and I have my house that's still down in Arkansas where I live and stuff. And I still have it. I still go down there periodically and stuff like that. We take vacations and go down there and stuff. And today I got up and I'm like, okay, it's middle of the month. I need to pay my water bill down there. So I grabbed my phone and I went to dial out to call the water department down there so that I could pay my water bill. And I'm like, oh, phone's not working. That's interesting. So I messaged the wife. I said, hey, anybody else having any problems with their Verizon phone? We're at work with you because I still have Wi-Fi. So I use the Wi-Fi and I messaged her. I said, hey, anybody else having problems with their Verizon phone? She's like, somebody said they had some problems earlier, but I don't think so. I said, okay, guess I can't pay the water bill today. I'll do it tomorrow. And that was the reality of, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. It wasn't so I waited till the last moment to do something so I didn't have to worry about it. But yeah, that was my stress for the day. Oh man, Verizon's not working. Okay, no problem. So, and then I still have stuff I have to do today, and I put the phone on the charger. I said, well, battery will be charged. So
that's such a great attitude about that.
Yeah, it's I lived with the phone, lived without a phone when I was a kid. I can live with a phone without a phone right now. I've got a phone that I can plug into the house line if need be, because we have internet box and stuff like that. So I could call out if there's an emergency. Shoot, I think cell phones were still working for emergency use and stuff like that. So I wasn't stressed about that. But I'm like, cool. No spam calls today. Nice.
Yeah.
Nobody's calling me asking for a donation for their campaign funds. Nobody's calling me to tell me I can get life insurance.
Yeah. Man, when service came back, the number of notifications, I had to mute my phone. I was so mad.
Really?
Well, I run two businesses, and most of it goes through my phone.
Okay.
So today, trying to buy windows for a job, trying to verify measurements, couldn't verify any measurements. Turn around, drive back to the job, actually get them in person.
Okay.
Like being a kid again, having to get on a bike and ride to the neighbor's house because you forgot their phone number, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Try to send emails, and it's verify appointments, and it's like, this thing is a brick. I just want to hit it with a hammer.
Yeah.
I drive by the Verizon store, right? Sitting at the set of lights with Verizon. I could see the Verizon store. My phone connects to Wi-Fi, right? Even from the set of lights.
Yep.
Like 30 notifications, and then the light
boy.
turns
Yep.
green, and now I
There go.
can't respond to anything.
Back to nothing. Yeah. Yeah, I took a second while I was at lunch and pulled up the Wi-Fi, and I'm like, Google Verizon outage. Pulled it up. Okay, it's not just me. All I need to worry about.
Yep. Yeah, I was on Home Depot's Wi-Fi, and I went to the hell is the thing? I forget what it's called. I have it stored so I don't forget. Basically, it just checks for outages on various websites and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I'm
Signal
drawing a blank
Connect
on
or
that.
something like that. Yeah, it's what Signal is.
Yeah. So, like, if when X wasn't working a month or two ago because whatever other thing was down,
Yeah.
Amazon Web Services goes down and half of the world shuts off. And,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Something detector. I don't know. Whatever. I should know better than to try to remember things mid conversation because everything just derails from there. But yeah, we need to go back to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We need to go back to the time where you could buy a Discman or a Walkman, and either one of them was acceptable to have.
Yes.
I think that's right when both were on the market. Was like peak America because everything was simple enough, but just advanced enough to be excited about it.
That was the same time frame that they had pagers and brick phones.
Yep.
You want to get a phone call? Get a brick phone. You want to just get notified that somebody's trying to get hold of you? Get a pager.
Yep. And you could go to the kiosk at the mall and get custom skins for your pager. So
right? Yeah,
it was kind of a lame device, but it still at least looked fashionable.
My favorite was the translucent blue, light blue.
Yeah, those were cool.
And then the lights that were in the pager that would flash through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then they started selling the little accessory chains. So if you didn't want a wallet chain, you could have a pager chain.
Yeah.
Just like
that way, if it was on the outside of your pocket and it bumped off or something because you sat down or you hit it or something like that, it wouldn't go like bouncing off the ground. Granted, it was as strong and durable as the Nokia phone, but yeah.
Oh man, those Nokia phones. The what do you call them there? The Nextels, the push to talk.
Oh yeah.
It's a cinder block. Those things were legendary.
Yeah. Those yellow Nextels. It's like they were made by DeWalt or something.
They look like it. Yeah. Well, back at the time, that must have been 98, 97, 98, maybe.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
No, maybe even a little earlier than that, 95. And the reason I say that is because I went overseas in 96. I was in Guam 96, 97, 98, 99. And I was in San Diego with pagers and the brick phones.
Okay. Yeah,
so let's say 90, 95, 96.
Okay. Yeah, because before they made their way into construction and city work and whatever, it was the government contract that actually made those.
Yeah.
The
push to talk.
Yeah.
PTT. On the electronic devices.
Yep. Everything was great, and then I think it was Sprint that bought out Nextel, and then everything just went to hell from there.
That's when we went to PDAs, Palm Pilots.
Oh yeah.
And that's what killed it all.
Yeah, and the BlackBerry came out.
Yeah.
It's what's his name? Gary Vee jokes about that all the time. I'm never letting go of my BlackBerry. It's I need the buttons.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. I have a hard enough time on my phone as it is on the keyboard, much less thinking back to that little tiny keyboard that was on there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
And the fancy one that came with the stylus.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I swear by the stylus. I have whatever this is. This thing is. I don't know, some kind of Samsung phone, whatever it is.
Okay. Yeah.
The stylus built into this thing.
Okay.
It improves the quality of my life so much. I have nerve damage in basically all of my fingertips.
Okay.
So if I'm trying to like draw anything on the screen or work in Canva for any level of detail, I don't know if I'm touching, like how hard I'm touching the phone.
You can't feel. I got you.
Yeah. So I know if my knuckle bends, I'm pushing pretty hard, right? If I use the stylus, I could tell what's going on. It's so much better.
Now, have you always done construction or?
Yeah, I've been in the trade since I was 20. So
wow,
yeah, this is year 26 now.
Nice. Okay.
Too long. I mean, I do enjoy it, but my body is telling me we are nearing the end.
I feel that for sure. The stuff I did while I was in the military is the same way. So I started out when I enlisted in '93. I went to welding school to be a welder, pipe fitter, and did that for about 2 years. And then I went to inspection school for advanced schooling to be pretty much a welding inspector. So I started doing pipe inspections, X-ray, ultrasonics, and heavy industrial inspection stuff. And I did that for about a year and a half when I got an opportunity to go and work for the bomb squad unit as an X-ray tech for them.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. Sure, let's do that. So I went and did that for 3 years and was the command radiographer. I was in charge of all the X-ray machines and everything that they had, and learned to scuba dive and shoot guns and do all the not shoot guns, but shoot guns tactically. Learned to do that, and then I went over to recruiting, did that for a year. And wife wanted me to get out of the military, and I was like, no, I don't want to get out of the military. I'll go in the reserves. And I went in the reserves, and because of my background with the bomb squad unit for 3 years, there was a tactical unit that worked with naval special warfare in the area that we were going to move to. And I was like, yeah, okay, I could do that. I'll go there. And I started doing riverboats for SEAL teams. And I was, it's called SWIC. We pretty much did the same things that SEALs did, but we did it on boats while they did it on land and in the air. And I did that for 2 years. And at the time, my wife worked for a temp agency. So I'd do a temp job here or there. And then the rest of my time was spent as a drilling reservist. So I was still gone 3/4 of the time doing tactical military stuff and stuff like that. And then I'd be home for a couple weeks. I do a temp job working for a renovation company where they go in and redo bathrooms or something like that. So I was a electrician's apprentice for about 6 months, where he'd do an apartment wiring for carports and stuff like that, putting in new lights and stuff in carports. So I did that as a temp job for him for a while. I was janitorial for several banks for a while. They're like, oh, you have security clearances and stuff like that, so we can trust you. I'm like, yeah. So I did janitorial work inside banks for a while. But yeah, I did all that for 2 years while I was still, playing military, if you will. And we got to the end of the reserve period, and the wife said, okay, you need to choose. Do you want to do military or do you want to be a civilian? Because you were at a point where I told her, I said, 2 years go by. If I'm not in a job, I want to go back because I like doing what I do. And ended up getting a divorce and went back in the military. So that's why she ended up being the ex-wife, and she kept the kids and stayed out in California and stuff. And I went back active duty in the military. And when I did, it was one of those, she said, hey, at least find something a little less dangerous so that the kids will still have a dad around. And I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So I went to an aircraft carrier as a nuclear firefighter.
I think you might have misdefined some things there.
Yeah. Well, it was safer. I wasn't getting shot at. So
okay. Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So I went to an aircraft carrier and I ended up spending 6 years there.
Wow.
And during those 6 years, I met my second wife, divorced my second wife in a short 4-year period, but gained a daughter in that relationship. And I absolutely love her with all of my heart now. She's an absolutely wonderful daughter, and I'm so blessed to have her as well. So 3 daughters, 2 marriages, and I was within about a year and a half, 2 years of leaving that ship when I met my third wife, which is now my late wife, which I knew her all the way back in 1993. We had met when we first both joined the military. We were stationed on a ship together when I was learning to be a pipe fitter. And she was married to her husband. I was married to my wife. We were just good friends and stuff like that. And we would hang out and talk and just be friends and stuff like that. And then jump forward 10 years. And I met her again on the aircraft carrier where she had just got stationed there. And I was walking off the ship. She was walking on the ship. And I looked across and I go, hey, I know you. Because it'd been 10 years since we'd seen each other. And she looked across at me and goes, I know you too. So we walked back on the ship and we stood there and we talked for about 20 or 30 minutes, reacquainting ourselves with what's been going on and stuff like that. And we were in the process of going through our second divorces. So we just started talking and we rekindled our friendship from way back in 93, 10 years ago, and just started being friends and talking and having fun. Talking about, oh, you'll never guess what my ex is doing right now. She's trying to do this. And she's like, oh, that's nothing. Mine's doing this. And I go, oh, ooh, okay, you win on that one. And we went back and forth like that through the whole time that we were getting our divorces. And we ended up legally separated from our spouses while we were going through the divorces and stuff like that. And we just spent so much time hanging out together and laughing at the stupid stuff that was going on through our divorces that we started bonding more, and we actually started dating. And it was a very quick romance relationship. And we ended up making a bet that $1 whose divorce would go through first. And I bet her $1, mine would go through first. She bet me $1 that hers would go through first. We filed on the same day. Neither of us knew that. So she filed in one county in the morning. I filed in another county in the afternoon on the same day. So it was a big joke about who's going to actually file first. And I proposed to her and we ended up getting married just shortly after our divorce is finalized. We didn't tell each other which one finalized first until our wedding day. And I paid out on our wedding day to her because hers finalized one day before mine.
Wow.
So yeah, we were standing there doing our vows, and part of the vows was, and because of an agreement I made, here is your $1. So part of our wedding ceremony was paying her the $1 for actually winning the bet on that. So, but it was one of those relationships where it was just right. And it was one of those things you could tell that it was just a right relationship. And we got married, and we were married for just over 10 years when she passed away. Wow. So it was actually 2 weeks after our 10th year anniversary when she passed away. So, but a lot of people use the term the love of their life. And I don't hate that term. I dislike that term because I don't think you can have a love of your life. I think you can have multiple loves in your life throughout that. Not together or not at the same time, but you are the person that you are at that time of your life. So having a relationship with that person, that was the love of that person, of that life. I'm not the same person I was now that I was when I was married to my late wife. I'm a completely different person now. My perspective on things, my outlook on life, my goals, my understanding of life in general. So was my wife at the time the love of my life? Yes. Being in the relationship I'm at now with Jenny, is she the love of my life? Absolutely. But I'm a different person than I was then, so I can love someone as fully, completely, and romantically as I ever have, and just as completely. So
That's awesome.
So
what a great perspective.
Well, it's just one of those things is as we grow, we change. So life changes with us. And now when you marry someone, it's from my perspective, you work through the hardships of the relationship because you continually work to build the relationship, what the relationship is. It's not oh, I don't like you today. We're done. Well, I don't like you today. It's totally okay for me not to like you today. We'll have a relationship again tomorrow. I'll like you then maybe. That's just a relationship. That's life of if I loved you every single day of the life, you would just be me. And I can't have two of me. The world's not prepared for that. So but yeah, so it's if you don't have things that irritate you or cause complications in your life, you don't grow. You don't you don't live, you don't understand, you can't comprehend, and you can't raise other people, young adults, children, into people if you don't know how to process complications like, I don't like my spouse today. Why? She annoyed me. Or she'll say, I don't like him today. Why? Because he stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning building Lego. And then he slept in this morning while I had to go to work. Well, he does that every morning, but this morning especially because I have to go to work. So it's a give and take in relationships where life is life and love passionately with everything you do because tomorrow it could be gone.
How frequently do you need to remind yourself of that?
Every single day.
Do you go out of your way to remind yourself of that, or do you remember that? Do you get what I'm asking?
Yeah, it's a given because I've ingrained it into who I am and my daily routine. When I get struggles or complications or things that are frustrating, is when I have to remind myself of those things. Okay, it's a struggle today. It won't be a struggle tomorrow. I can push through this. I've been through worse. And, is this the worst thing that's ever going to happen to me in my life? No. One day I'm going to die. That's the worst thing that's going to happen to me. And will that be the worst thing? That'll be the worst thing for everyone else around me. I won't be in any pain. I won't hurt. When I die, I die. Whether somebody has a perspective of going to heaven or being reincarnated or whatever their afterlife consists of, the hardships will not be on me. It's going to be on everyone else I left behind. It'll be on the kids. It'll be on Jenny. It'll be on parents if I still have parents around, or in-laws, or friends, or cousins, or any family that's still left, or things like that. On the community, the Lego community that I make relationships with, the hardship will be on those people. Rob Claxton, he was in here earlier. Rob just lost his dad. I believe it was his dad this week. And so understanding all of the frustrations and hardships that Rob's going through right now, as well as the stuff that he's going to have to go through, I can relate to it 100%. I have the utmost empathy for everything that he's going through right now, as well as anybody else that is in those same types of circumstances. I have empathy for the fact that the frustration you had from Verizon going down today. I can remember when those were the frustrations in my life, when those were the
so petty.
No, it is, but it isn't, because for you, that is a relevant thing for you in what you do, your livelihood, your job, your things like that. So it's relevant for you, and I understand that, and I can understand that. But at the same time, I can look at it and I can laugh and go, "Oh, I wish you could be inside me to feel from my perspective of how simple life can be in comparison." So, if my biggest complaint is if I pinch my finger between two plates, it's, when you put the plates together and you catch a piece of skin under or something like that,
Yeah.
The kids have hard days because they're still growing and they're still learning. But at the same time, these kids have lost a parent. So for them to be able to process emotionally what's going on, I'll give them some leeway. And they come in saying they had a hard day because someone was mean to them. But, it's a growing process. It's a learning process. I still have to remind them of, is this really that bad? Can we move through this? What do we need to do to grow? And is this a frustration or is this a roadblock? Because we can get through frustrations. Roadblocks, we have to solve problems. Okay. A pothole road, we can still drive the road. Now, a bridge that's out, we can't drive the bridge. So those are the two perspectives of looking at things of, okay, I can still get across something. I can still move forward. It's just not going to be easy for a little while, as opposed to those sudden roadblocks where we can't move forward.
You got to write a book. You got to do it. You got you know what?
I just
take
have
the recording of this.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I just have to keep taking interviews and conversations and stuff like this and say, hey, can you take these conversations and turn them into chapters for a book and do something like that? But so it's, if doing that could help people, I'm totally down for that. The biggest thing for me, though, is being to have, from my perspective, the personal connection when I share the stories too, because that's healing for me with what I do. Now, would it still happen if it was coming out of the pages of a book? Yeah, but it's a little less personal for me in that perspective. So for me to be able to sit and have this conversation with you and the people that are watching or will watch or come back to watch, knowing that they can still be personal and reach out or send me a message or message on yours and, and communicate to us on these things, makes it more profound to me, I guess.
Yeah. So maybe you need to do a TED Talk on a stage presentation kind of thing.
I would be all about that. I would do that.
Yeah. I think there's that would be a great benefit to a lot of people. I think it would be cool. Or you could just feed this into an AI and then have them kind of script it out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, clearly you know the story well enough, but it's it's nice having a piece of paper to
Oh, very true. Yes.
keep you on track. Or at least I need a piece of paper to keep me on track most of the time.
Oh, trust me, I have people that I need to help keep me on track sometimes.
Yeah. Every conversation takes a dirt road at some point.
Oh yeah,
how it goes.
Oh yeah. No, I've had conversations before where I talk to people and they're like, "Your life and your story." I'm like, "I know, it's like a wilderness trail. I go down this trail, and then there's an offshoot, and I go and I check that out for a little while, and then I come back, and then I walk a little farther. Oh, there's another one over here, and then I go off that way, and then I come back, and then I go a little farther. Oh, look, there's a cliff. Okay, let's rappel down it instead." So, other people will get to the edge of the cliff, and they'll be like, "Oh, we should turn around and go back." And I'm like, "Oh, that tree has vines. I'll use the vines and climb down the cliff. The trail must continue at the bottom." So yeah, it's
all right. Well, so you did some traveling. Did you ever go to Centralia in Pennsylvania?
I may have gone through there. That was back in '94, so it's a little foggy.
Okay.
But yeah, no, let's see, Pennsylvania. So let's see where that's at. If it's where I think it is, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. So, did you ever see the movie Silent Hill or play the game at any point?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with the name of it.
Silent Hill it's this town. Well, Centralia is the actual town. There's some like underground gas fault or something. And it's grip. Yeah. Okay. So you're looking at it now. It's wild.
Yep.
And a lot of it, I don't know, 15 years ago, looked like it did in the movie. The ground broken up, steam still coming out of the ground.
Yeah, it's a natural gas fire that's underground that they haven't been able to extinguish. It's self-feeding with natural gas and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I'm very familiar with it now. The name of it, I'm like, oh, the name's familiar. I can't remember if I've been through there or not. But yeah, I had a friend while I was in Philly that lived in Hershey. So we made a couple trips back and forth to his house on weekends or long weekends and stuff like that. And one of the trips was up to go and explore that because I remember walking down the road where you could smell it. It has a smell that, so
it's very sulfuric. It smells like a match. the sulfur.
Oh yeah, it's a very heavy sulfur. Yeah.
But thinking about your kind of off-road reference there, it made me think of that because my wife and I went and we kind of saw the road that's all torn up and was gassy, and the whole road was covered in graffiti and all this crazy stuff.
There wasn't that much graffiti back when I went there, but that was 94. So, but the grass, it was totally overgrown with grass.
But you'd be walking a little bit and then you'd look over and there'd be like a house foundation over there. We're like, oh, all right, we're gonna break off for what we're doing. We'll go over there and then where the hell are we? And then you get back on course. That trip was cool. Actually, was it one of something military related was right down the street. Shy actually just went and visited it recently. It's the birthplace of the Marines, maybe? Is it in Pennsylvania?
The Tun Tavern is Philadelphia.
Okay.
Which is the birthplace of the United States Marine Corps. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I'm trying to think how that trip worked. Because we did Centralia. My in-laws used to live right outside of Allentown. So we went, we dropped my oldest off with my in-laws, and then we did all these little excursions.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And the liquor laws are strange. They're very strange in Pennsylvania. And we went to this. It was basically a deli, but the deli would make, sandwiches, burgers, hot dogs, and serve them to you on like the old school, like circular stools, like the bar
Oh,
stools,
yeah.
like malted milkshake,
Yep.
those days kind of stools.
The diners.
Yeah. But people would walk in the door, like all in camo, face paint, whatever, shotgun over their shoulder.
Yep.
They'd buy 240s from the cooler,
Yep.
a sandwich, and then they'd walk out the door, like armed and carrying a couple 40s.
Yep.
And out the door they go with their sandwich. It's like, what part of the world is this? I'm not even that far from home.
Welcome to the U.S.
Yeah, it was awesome. Oh, that would never fly here. Yeah, if somebody walked in the store anywhere around here with a
Oh, yeah.
rifle or a shotgun exposed, every cell phone within eyesight would just come out and be calling the police. It's a sad situation. I don't approve of that.
Which part? All the cell phones coming out, or
Yeah, it's
everybody trying to get it on the internet? Look what I just saw.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've said this on the show a couple times. I'd rather be in a room with a lot of guns than in a room with just one.
Very true.
Yeah.
The only exception to that is if you're the one with the gun.
Fair. Yeah. I don't know, but I try not to get things too political on here. So I
no, it's totally good. I'm in a similar mindset with you. I agree.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's proper training is clearly important, but
factual, yes.
Well-trained people are the people that I want around me. Yeah, and that leads to less trouble in my eyes. But
very much so.
What the hell is this? Random bits on my desk. All right, sir. It is 20 past 12. I got to get some shut-eye. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on, telling your story.
No, man, I owe you all the gratitude and thanks for inviting me. Thank you for making this platform available to allow me to talk to your community as well and be a part of your world. I appreciate it. And all I want to do is just be a part of people's worlds so that I can share what I know and maybe help them one day, every day, 5 minutes of a day to have a better day.
Well, so I think everybody who tuned in tonight learned it. At the very least, they learned some new coping strategies, which I think that in itself is huge.
For sure.
All right. Everyone who's still with us tonight, thank you guys for hanging out.
Yes, thank you.
I do appreciate it, as always. You're here, so I suppose I should do the request for a like and a sub if you haven't already. I'm going to assume everyone has. Next week is, what do we got? Next week would be the 21st. Ralph from Ralph's Bricks, who is now the Brick Separators, will be on, and we're going to be talking some Bricklink. So
very
that'll
cool.
be a good time.
I will definitely tune in for that to keep tabs on what's going on Bricklink wise. I know you have a unique perspective being a reseller there, so your perspective is valuable to me as well. So
yeah, it's a nice little platform, low fees. It's a good spot, and Ralph's perspective is pretty good. He got to be a part of a Bricklink seller meetup with some international folks.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Right before the holidays, so it'll be good to hear about that. It'll be a good time. And awesome. Ralph's great. He's a funny guy. Knows a ton.
Yep.
But all right, everyone. Thank you again.
Sleep well.
I will see you, but you won't see me on Sunday night.
We will see each other multiple times, I'm sure. And everyone else will see us as long as you tune in by liking, subscribing, and hit that bell icon to get notifications. Like tonight when we had multiple schedule changes. Might have been a later show, might have been an earlier show. Hit the bell to make sure you get those notifications.
Yep. And all of Break Dad's links are in the show description. So make sure you go
Awesome. Yep.
Click all the bells and buttons.
Link trees on any of my profiles. So you can pick me up wherever you want and either give me a follow, hit me up a message. If anybody has any questions about the show, by all means, message me if you have questions or want to know more.
Right on. All right. Thank you again, sir. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.
Next time.